Chapter 4500. Duan Yue. Besides, one more thing. Duan Tianhong continued, old ancestor left the customs yesterday. After learning of your existence, brother Ling Tian, he wanted to see you. In addition, the patriarch also told old ancestor that if you have something to ask him for help, old ancestor said, when you meet him, you can tell him what to do to help him. In the past 10 years, Duan Lingtian has approached Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan more than once, explaining that he wants to see the half-sage ancestor of the Duan clan and wants him to do him a favor. As for how to help, he also told Duan Bing. According to Duan Bing, this matter is a bit tricky. It is not that the ancestors of the Duan clan are unwilling to help, but that the soul is imprisoned by the soul clan. Once the power of the soul of the strongest is involved, their ancestors can't really help. However, he still assured Duan Lingtian that their ancestors of the Duan clan would still be willing to go with Duan Lingtian once they leave the customs. Perhaps, before you set off, you will have time to go to your hometown with your ancestors. Duan Tianhong laughed. And Duan Lingtian, after hearing Duan Tianhong's words, his eyes suddenly lit up. Elder Tianhong, please take me to see the ancestor. Originally, he had temporarily put this matter aside. I even thought that after the trip to return to the ruins in Bibo Tianfu, I would enter Bibo Tianfu and seek help from the sages of Bibo Tianfu. A saint's shot is more reliable than a half-sage's shot. Unexpectedly, before leaving for the return to the ruins of the Bibo Tianfu, the ancestors of the Duan clan left the customs. Although, there are only 3 days left. However, it was enough for him to travel back and forth to the anti-god realm. Because, in Leisheng realm, there are teleportation formations that go to more than 20 realms, including the anti-god realm. Of course, you must first go to the transfer teleportation formations in the major realms to transfer. Going back to the god-defying realm? Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but feel excited. In the past, when he left the anti-god realm, it could be said that he sneaked out. At that time, because he had a large number of divine springs in his hands, it was enough to attract the coveted of the most powerful, so he tried every means to leave the anti-god realm and pass through other realms to the outer lands. Accidentally teleported to the Tiansha realm, one of the outer areas of the outer lands. Then, walking all the way from Tiansha realm to the lay sacred realm of these 3 holy realms, it can be said that it is walking on thin ice, cautious, and even dare not reveal his identity. Now, when he thinks of going back to the god realm, he has a feeling of being separated from the world. I came to me the first time because I knew you were in a hurry. Duan Tianhong laughed. Although the young man in front of him has only been with the Duan family for 10 years, in the past 10 years, he and the other party have formed a deep friendship because of similar temperaments. Although he is the strongest, he does not dare to be big in front of the other party, because he knows that the potential of the other party is far greater than his. Perhaps, now he is enough to easily overwhelm the opponent. But in the future, not necessarily. I have sent the message to the ancestor, and I will take you to see him. Duan Tianhong said again. Hearing this, Duan Lingshan's eyes that had already lit up became more and more bright, and then he followed Duan Tianhong to the place where the half-sage ancestor of the Duan family was cultivating. As the existence with the highest status in the Duan clan, the place where this semi-sage ancestor of the Duan clan is located is also a spiritual spring. Moreover, he was the only one in the entire Lingquan. Ancestor, the big offering is here. Duan Tianhong brought Duan Lingtian to the canyon where the Lingquan like a paradise is located, stood in the sky, and saluted the floating hut above the canyon in front of him. A slightly lazy voice came from inside. And it was this voice that caused Duan Lingshan's pupils to shrink sharply, and the depths of his eyes were full of horror. This half-sage ancestor of the Duan family turned out to be a strong female. And just as Duan Lingtian was horrified, the door of the floating hut in front opened, and a graceful figure appeared in front of Duan Lingtian at the right time. This is a woman wearing a light cyan dress. She looks to be in her 20s at most. The most important thing is that she was lazy at this time, as if she was not interested in anything. However, Duan Lingtian only glanced at her pair of agile eyes, and he had a feeling of seeing the endless abyss, as if there was no end, like a bottomless abyss. Duan Lingtian, I have seen my ancestor. Although the person in front of him seemed to be about the same age as himself, Duan Lingtian knew that under this young face, there was a long period of precipitation. After all, this one is the most senior figure in the Duan clan. Full 10 living fossils. You are the worship of our Duan clan, so you don't need to call me old ancestor like them. The woman smiled lightly and looked at Duan Lingshan's eyes, which suddenly became deeper. At this moment, Duan Lingtian also had a feeling of being invisible. It's amazing. The next moment, the woman's pupils contracted violently, imperceptibly. As soon as she said these words, she looked at Duan Tianhong and said lightly, I have something to say to the big offering, so please step back. Yes, old man. When Duan Tianhong heard the words, he hurriedly stepped back respectfully, and at the same time reminded Duan Lingtian through a voice transmission, Brother Lingtian, what our ancestor was good at was one of the 4 supreme laws of life, and he also mastered the control of one of the 4 laws of heaven and earth. Road. After reminding Duan Lingtian, he disappeared in front of Duan Lingtian and the ancestors of the Duan clan. For a time, within the huge canyon, only Duan Lingtian and the ancestors of the Duan clan were left. My name is Duan Yue, you little guy, you don't need to call me ancestors like them in the future, just call me Sister Wei. After Duan Tianhong withdrew, Duan Yue stared at Duan Lingtian with interest, and at the same time took a few steps forward, in front of Duan Lingtian, her slender hand stretched out, hooked Duan Lingshan's chin, and looked at Duan Lingtian. As for Duan Lingtian, in the process, although he wanted to dodge, he found that an invisible force seemed to imprison him in place, making him unable to move at all. For a time, while being shocked by the opponent's strength, Duan Lingtian felt bitter in his heart. Why does this ancestor of the Duan clan feel abnormal? What is she trying to do? It's amazing. Just when Duan Lingtian was inexplicable, Duan Yue spoke again, with such strength, it is less than 3,000 years old. Looking beyond the world, and even the history of the world, I have never heard of anyone at your age with your strength. And Duan Lingtian, after hearing Duan Yue's words, his face changed drastically. He never imagined that Duan Yue, the ancestor of the Duan clan, could see that he was less than 3,000 years old just by looking at him. You must know that in the past, although there were people of similar age who could see his age, they could only see that he was not long live. And now, this paragraph of Yue actually saw that he was less than 3,000 years old. You know, this is not a good thing. As long as the other party has a bit of bad intentions, he will definitely die. Don't be nervous. I have no ill will towards you. I really want to be malicious to you. Do you think you can still stand here well now? And Duan Yue, at this time, seemed to see Duan Lingshan's current nervousness from Duan Lingshan's eyes, smiled lightly, and then stood up, and at the same time removed the invisible force that enveloped Duan Lingtian. At this moment, Duan Lingtian regained his freedom, and quickly took a few steps back, looking vigilantly at the teasing ancestor of the Duan clan in front of him. Taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian said, "Ancestor." As soon as he opened his mouth, he was interrupted by Duan Yue frowning. I said, "You can just call me Sister Wei. From today, I will call you Xiaotian. You can go to the Duan clan, it means that you have a relationship with the Duan clan, and it has something to do with me. From now on, you and I will be sisters and brothers." Chapter 45:01. Return to the hometown against the gods. As the ancestor of the Duan clan, the semi-saint Duan Yue naturally cannot be that kind of mindless and kind person. Now, she is polite to Duan Ling Tian, and even bluntly said that she wants to be commensurate with Duan Lingshan's sister and brother, because she sees through Duan Lingshan's age of less than 3,000 years old. Ordinary semi-sacred, naturally do not have this method. But the problem is, she is a semi-sacred powerhouse who is good at the law of life. The law of life, it is only one step away, the kind that can step into the realm of great perfection. At less than 3,000 years old, he has the strength close to the invincible superior god. Duan Yue has never even heard of such a monster. At least, in the place beyond the world that she knew, and even in the history of the world, there has never been such a person against the sky. And now, such a person is standing in front of his eyes. Most importantly, it hasn't really grown up yet. In her opinion, isn't this a chance to befriend the future powerhouse ahead of time? Maybe, not long after, there will be a strong Jia Zun realm, calling him Sister Wei, and at that time, their Duan clan will no longer need to be attached to Bibo Tianfu. Even those who are in the realm of the world today, there is no one who can achieve his achievements at his age. Maybe, his future achievements can surpass those of the world's most powerful people. Duan Yue said secretly. Because of this, she did not treat the young man in front of her as a junior ancestor. Facing Duan Yue's friendliness, Duan Ling Tian was a little flattered, but also a little restless. However, as soon as he opened his mouth, he was interrupted by Duan Yue before he could continue talking, only to see Duan Yue frowning and saying unhappily, "I said it all, you and I are good siblings? Could it be, do you think that Duan Yue is not qualified to be your sister?" Speaking of this, Duan Yue's eyes on Duan Ling Tian changed, and she became a little teasing, "I heard that you have something to ask me for help. If you and I have a brother and sister relationship, about your brother, I will be my sister. Yes, of course, it is my duty and I must go all out to help." Hearing Duan Yue's words, Duan Ling Tian was speechless for a while, and he could only call out, "Sister Wei." And when Duan Yue heard Duan Lingshan's Sister Wei, she immediately lifted it up and handed the 2 floating shadow beads to Duan Ling Tian. "Since you called me Sister Wei, then I, the elder sister, will also give you a meeting gift. With your current strength, I can help you, and that's all." In these 2 floating shadow beads, there are respectively recorded mirror images of 2 invincible upper gods who are good at space laws. It should be of some help to you. Originally, Duan Ling Tian was also guessing that this floating shadow bead should be the floating shadow bead that recorded the powerful shot, but when he heard Duan Yue's words, he was shocked again. Another 2 floating shadow beads that recorded the shots of the invincible upper gods who were good at space laws? The next moment, Duan Ling Tian, who came back to his senses, involuntarily showed a look of surprise on his face. Although he already had such a floating shadow bead in his hand, who would dislike too much of this kind of thing? Although they are all invincible superior gods who comprehend the laws of space to the realm of great perfection, the direction of each person's comprehension is completely different. He got these floating shadow beads, and he can find different inspirations from them. Thank you, Miss Wei. If Duan Ling Tian was forced to be helpless in the previous sister, now this sister, Duan Ling Tian came from the heart. The person in front of him, he is not difficult to guess the reason for his enthusiasm for him, it is nothing more than seeing his potential and wanting to befriend him in advance. This is tantamount to an investment. He is not disgusted by this. After all, the other party's investment is also risky. Who can guarantee that Duan Ling Tian will be able to stand outside the realm in the future, or even the peak of the world? The reason why I say this is also because the only strong people who can help Duan Yue are those who stand outside the realm, or even the realm powerhouses at the peak of the world. Okay, now, let's go to your hometown. Duan Yue said, "No more unnecessary nonsense." When Duan Ling Tian heard the words, his eyes suddenly lit up. After all, this was his biggest purpose, to find the person in front of him. He wanted to bring the other party back to his hometown against God Realm to seek here and see if the other party had the means to wake him up. Let's talk about it first. I don't have much confidence. Duan Yue continued. Regarding the ins and outs of the matter, she had heard Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan, and knew what she was going to do on this trip, so she reminded Duan Ling Tian before leaving. However, although I don't have much confidence, but, with my strength, I can delay the erosion of her soul, I still have a certain degree of confidence. Duan Yue added. Duan Ling Tian was stunned for a moment, and then showed a happy expression. It can also delay the erosion of the soul. Duan Ling Tian did not expect this unexpected joy. In this way, it is not in vain for him to enter the Duan clan and seek the help of this person. Let's go. Follow me to the Thunder Saint realm, to the teleportation formation that leads to your hometown, the anti-god realm. Duan Yue greeted Duan Ling Tian, then lifted it up without reminding Duan Ling Tian, took Duan Ling Tian directly, and left the Duan clan at a ridiculously fast speed. How outrageous! Although Duan Ling Tian was completely awake, but now Duan Yue was leading him on the road, his eyes were so vast that he couldn't see anything clearly. This shows how fast Duan Yue is. As expected of a semi-sacred powerhouse. Duan Ling Tian was shocked. Duan Yue can be said to be the first semi-sacred powerhouse he has ever come into contact with, even if it was Kumu, a powerhouse with the same level of strength as the Cold King in the past. He knew that Kumu's father was a semi-sacred powerhouse, but after all, he did not meet Deadwood's father. Half-holy powerhouses. In Verse God realm, it seems that there are also. After coming to the land beyond the realm, Duan Ling Tian is no longer the stunned young man he used to know nothing about. He knows that in the 10,000 realms, in addition to the upper 3 realms, there are more than one realm powerhouse, and the middle 18 realms below, most of them have a strong Jia Zun in charge. Even if there is no Jia Zun strong, there are many powerful half-step Jia Zun in charge. A half-step world honor is a half-sage. Moreover, he also heard in the land outside the realm that the realm of the gods is the most powerful realm in the 18th realm, and there is a powerful realm of the realm. Thinking of this, Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but think that when he had gone through hardships in the past, passed the many tests, and obtained the Shen Yun Quan, the existence that was honored as adult by a supreme power, another supreme power. I don't know, that one, what level of superpower? Half-step Jiazun? Or, an existence that is close to the half-step Jiazun. Chapter 4502. Here is the teleportation formation from Lei Xingjing to the upper 3 realms and the middle 18 realms of myriad realms. When the scenery could be gradually seen in front of him, Duan Yue's words came from Duan Lingshan's ear at the right time. Duan Ling Tian took a closer look, only to realize that he was taken to a vast plain by Duan Yue at some point, and within this plain, there were giant teleportation formations scattered in various areas. And next to these giant teleportation arrays, each erected a huge stone tablet with the names of the realms engraved on it. Duan Lingshan's eyes were quickly attracted by one of the stone tablets, because the 3 characters, Averse God Realm, were engraved on it. There are people patrolling around each giant teleportation array. Obviously, this teleportation array is not something that can be used casually. These teleportation arrays are jointly built and maintained by several great saints in the Thunder Holy Land. Our Duan clan is attached to the Bibo Tianfu, so it is also useful to have the authority of these teleportation arrays. Seemingly seeing the doubts in Duan Lingshan's eyes, Duan Yue spoke at the right time to clear up Duan Lingshan's doubts. Of course, our Duan clan, although it is a semi-sacred force under Bibo Tianfu, still needs to spend a lot of divine crystals to use these teleportation arrays. Because the activation of the teleportation array requires a lot of divine crystals. If it weren't for the fact that in 3 days, you would set off for the return to the ruins found in Bibo Tianfu, and the time was too fast, I would have taken you directly to the anti-god realm. A half-step realm like Duan Yue can easily lock in the location of the anti-god realm, and the physical body crosses numerous space barriers to reach the spatial plane where the anti-God realm is located. However, even with her strength, it would take a lot of time to go to the anti-God realm. No teleportation array comes as fast. Let's go. Duan Yue greeted Duan Lingtian, and went directly to the teleportation formation Yukongxing marked with the anti-God realm, and in a blink of an eye, she arrived at the periphery of the teleportation formation. You too, from which force? Immediately, someone stepped forward and asked Duan Lingtian about the origins of the two. The Midnight Saint. And at this moment, another figure flashed from a distance, and in a blink of an eye, it was not far in front of Duan Lingtian and Duan Yue, looking at Duan Yue to say hello. Elder Yuanwu. And Duan Yue, apparently recognizing the person, nodded slightly to him. Duan Lingtian glanced at the other party one more time. The person Duan Yue called Elder Yuanwu looked like a young man. At this moment, Duan Yue's gaze was obviously hot. Even, he had an illusion. Although the other party just glanced at him inadvertently, he felt hostile. That's right. Just hostility. This person won't be interested in Sister Wei? At this moment, even if Duan Lingtian didn't want to think about it, he couldn't help but think so, because the other party's performance was too strange. Half-holy? The middle-aged strong man who stopped Duan Lingtian and the two before, also glanced at Duan Yue in surprise at this time, obviously did not expect this person to be a half-sage. Of course, even being a half-holy was not enough to make him bow down. He comes from the power of saints, and he is a third-order Xian. Elder Yuanwu, since you know him, you can entertain him. He glanced at the young man who had just come over and said. Okay. The young man, Yuanwu, smiled and nodded. This person is the elder of Bibo Tianfu, the existence of the fourth-order Xian. In Duan Lingshan's ear, Duan Yue's words came in a timely manner. Each of these teleportation formations must have at least one Xian Tier 3 existence in charge. And those who guard these teleportation formations must be at least Xian Tier 4. The presence. As for the candidate, it will be negotiated by those sage forces. Now, it is obviously the use of these teleportation arrays on the main island of the elders of the Bibo Tianfu. Duan Yue said. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian was stunned for a while. At the same time, he couldn't help but look at Yuanwu a few more times. According to his sister Wei's words, this Yuanwu should be the most powerful being present. Yi Mid-Saint, who is this? Yuanwu's gaze fell on Duan Lingtian seriously for the first time. My brother. Duan Yue said lightly, his name is Duan Lingtian. Xiao Tian, this is Elder Yuanwu of Bibo Tianfu. Hearing Duan Yue's words, Duan Lingtian looked at the other party and bowed slightly. Duan Lingtian, I have seen Elder Yuanwu. After hearing Duan Lingshan's name, Yuanwu's hostility towards Duan Lingtian in the depths of his eyes clearly dissipated a lot. It turned out to be a friend of the Duan clan. Of course, at this moment, he really couldn't figure out how someone like Duan Yue would recognize a superior of the Duan clan as his younger brother. Moreover, he had never heard that Duan Yue had such a younger brother. If it is Duan Yue's own younger brother or something, and he is not a superpower, according to his age, I am afraid that he will not be alive now. Elder Yuanwu, am going to use the teleportation formation of the God-defying realm. Duan Yue looked at Yuanwu and said, I'm going to go to the anti-God realm. Duan Yue went straight to the point and didn't talk nonsense with Yuanwu. And Yuanwu's next performance also made Duan Lingtian further confirm. This elder Yuanwu of Bibo Tianfu is indeed interested in Duan Yue, a semi-sage of the Duan clan. Because, while greeting them to set foot on the teleportation array, Yuanwu took out the divine crystal from his own pocket to activate the teleportation array. While activating the teleportation formation, Yuanwu looked at Duan Yue and reminded, Yi Bansheng, there are saints in the anti-God realm. Before going to the anti-God realm, it is best to contact the strong people there to avoid misunderstandings. Yuan Wu didn't ask Duan Yue what to do in the God realm, because in his opinion, everyone has their own secrets. Thank you Elder Yuan Wu for reminding me. Duan Yue nodded. The next moment, Duan Lingtian felt a teleportation force shrouding him, and then his eyes darkened and lit up, and he had already appeared in another teleportation formation. This teleportation formation is located in a lush forest. Near the teleportation formation, several grass huts stand there. As Duan Lingtian and Duan Yue came out, one person came out one after another in those grass huts. The Thunder Holy Land from the Outer Lands? A total of 3 people walked out of the 3 grass huts, 1 middle-aged and 2 elderly, all staring at Duan Yue vigilantly. As for Duan Lingtian, they were completely ignored by them. The non-superpowers are not in their eyes. You should be the gatekeepers at the entrance to the realm of the anti-God realm. Duan Yue looked at the 3 of them, and said indifferently, "Tell those of you who are in charge of the anti-God realm and say that I am the half-saint of the night in the Thunder Holy Land outside the realm. This time, I followed my younger brother back to his hometown to have something to do. Manage. I'll leave when I'm done." As soon as Duan Yue said these words, the pupils of the 3 of them shrank all of a sudden. This turned out to be a half-sage. A half-sage is a half-step world venerable. Even if you look at the entire God-defying realm, there are only a handful of existences. At the same time, their eyes shifted to Duan Lingtian in the next moment. Is this person the one who went out against the God realm? Not even a superpower, he can be recognized as a younger brother by a half-step world-respected powerhouse. For a time, deep in their eyes, a playful color flashed subconsciously, thinking that this was the male favorite of the semi-sacred powerhouse in front of them. Otherwise, how to explain, a non-superior, can invite a half-step world venerable? Chapter 4503. Reverse God Realm, Xiaomubai. Yu Yi Bansheng, wait a moment, I'll contact the world masters of our anti-God realm. After learning that Duan Yue was the existence of the half-step world venerable, the 3 of them did not dare to be slighted, and quickly contacted several world masters in the anti-God realm. The world masters of the anti-God realm are all half-step world masters. At the same time, in the endless void, a young man in white sitting in a pavilion on a floating island in the sky, suddenly opened his eyes. Outside the world, Thunder Holy Land, Midnight Saint. The one from the Duan clan below the Bibo Tianfu in the Thunder Holy Land? The next moment, the young man in white dodged and stepped into the void. A space crack suddenly opened in the void in front of him, as if a door had been opened for him. Then, he stepped into it himself. Those old guys are all in retreat. No matter what, I can only go and meet the Midnight Saint. Before the space crack closed, indifferent words came out from the space crack. Our people from the God-defying realm are suspected to have become his male pets? The young man in white murmured while rushing along at a ridiculously fast speed, and his tone became a little weird at this moment. A character like Midnight Yu will find a male pet? Although, he had never had any interaction with the Midnight Saint of the Thunder Holy Land in the past, but he had also heard of the other party, and knew that the other party had never been married in his life, and that there had never even been a man around him. Such a character would find a male pet? He didn't quite believe it. At the same time, in the anti-God realm, many superpowers who had a good relationship with the 3 superpowers guarding the teleportation formation outside the realm also received news at this time. Outside the world, is there a visit from a half-step world-respected powerhouse? What does he want to do? Half-step Jesuan came to us against the God realm, and there must be a plan. I think it's time to hold the Supreme Power Conference again. I haven't heard that the other party is just following her younger brother to work against the God realm. After saying that, I will leave after finishing the work. I think we can just wait and see what happens. We don't need to be all the grass and trees. It's just a half-step realm, and it's not a real realm. Exalted realm. In the anti-god realm, a group of supreme powers were disturbed. Among them, it also includes Zhuge Hanming, the son of the time sword Zhuge Wan. Zhuge Hanming, among the supreme powers in the god-defying realm, is considered a relatively strong existence. Now he has stepped into the third-order supreme power, which is much stronger than the ordinary supreme powers. In the anti-god realm, several realm masters are all 5th-rank Zeons. And the following deputy world masters are all 4th-order Zeons. If one day Zhuge Hanming also steps into the 4th rank of Zeon, then the world master of the god-defying realm will hold a meeting of the supreme powers for him and nominate him as the deputy world master. Lei Xingjing, the half-step sacred powerhouse of the Duan clan below Bibo Tianfu? Zhuge Hanming frowned slightly. He had been to Lei Xingjing, but he had never been to the area where Bibo Tianfu belonged, so he didn't know the situation there. Now, he doesn't even know, now, the person from the anti-god realm who came back with the Yuyi Bansheng was mistaken by the 3 supreme anti-god realm guards guarding the teleportation formation as a male favorite. It was his junior disciple Feng Qingyang's disciple Duan Lingtian. In the past, when he was on the battlefield, he had an intersection with Duan Lingtian. However, at that time, he did not know that it was his nephew. He only learned later that his father had an inheritor, and it was only later that he found out that the peerless genius who was making a lot of noise in the plain battlefield was the disciple of his father's inheritor. Back then, when he first learned about all this, Zhuge Hanming still felt a little proud. The Sword of Time is in the same vein, and there are people who have successors. Although his own talent is not bad, compared to his father, it is completely incomparable. When his father was alive, he was a strong 5th-order superpower. Moreover, relying on the amazing time swordsmanship, his father was not only invincible under the 6th rank of Zeon in the god-defying realm, but he even went out of the realm, and even went to other realms of Wuxia, and he never encountered the same realm. Someone who can rival him. It can be said that for Zhuge Hanming, his father, the Sword of Time Zhuge Wendao, is the goal he has spent his whole life pursuing, and is the pillar of his soul. In the anti-god realm, although there are 18 passages leading to the outside world, there are only 2 teleportation arrays connecting to the outside world. One of them is connected to the outside world. In the other place, it is connected to the other 17 realms of the upper 3 realms and the middle 18 realms, as well as some realms subordinate to the anti-god realm, such as the reincarnation realm that Duan Lingtian has been to. At this moment, Duan Lingtian and Duan Yue stood there, waiting quietly at the place where the teleportation array was connected to the outside world. Although Duan Lingtian felt that the eyes of the 3 superpowers looking at him were a bit strange, he ignored it. For him, the most important thing now is to take this sister Wei by his side to find his wife Kir. See if the other party can help his wife Kir get rid of the imprisoned soul from her body. Now, he and Duan Yue are standing here, just waiting for the powerhouse in the god-defying realm to come over. Coming. Suddenly, Duan Yue's eyes landed on the void in the distance ahead. When Duan Lingtian heard her words, he followed his gaze for a while. As for the opposite god realm, the 3 superpowers guarding the teleportation formation in the outer world, after Duan Lingtian looked at it, he noticed the change in the distance, and they all looked at it for a while. Tear. Under the eyes of the 5 people, the void in the distance suddenly tore apart a space crack. Then, a white figure stepped out from the inside at the right time and appeared in front of the 5 people including Duan Lingtian. The person who came, dressed in a white dress, with a handsome face, sword-like eyebrows and star-like eyes, and an extraordinary temperament. It looks like Duan Lingshan's peers. However, Duan Lingtian knows that this person is probably at least a half-step world venerable existence. Because, before that, Duan Yue had a voice transmission to tell him that in the god-defying realm, the strong sage, that is, the strong Jia Zun realm Shenlong saw the beginning but not the end, and usually a few half-step Jia Zun was in charge. The World Lord. After the young man dressed in white appeared, the three supreme powers of the god-defying realm immediately saluted him respectfully. It can be seen that they respect the youth in white from the bottom of their hearts. Inverse God Realm, Xiaomubai, I have seen Midnight Yi. The eyes of the young man in white first fell on Duan Ling Tian, and there was a hint of surprise in the depths of his eyes, and then he looked at Duan Yue and said hello with a smile. You are Xiaomubai. And Duan Yue, upon hearing Xiaomubai's self-introduction, her pupils suddenly shrank together. You have been promoted to the 5th rank? Chapter 4504. I didn't expect that Midnight Yi knew me. Xiaomubai stood there, looking at Duan Yue with a smile. The current Duan Ling Tian, standing beside Duan Yue, was also looking at Xiaomubai. To him, Xiaomubai is a raw face that he has never seen before. However, Xiaomubai's voice sounded somewhat familiar to him. It's just that I can't remember for a while, and I heard a voice similar to Xiaomubai somewhere. He is the lord of the god-defying realm? Duan Ling Tian looked at Xiaomubai a few more times. Although he is also a person from the god-defying realm, he has never met the world lord of the god-defying realm. In other words, don't say see, he only came back this time, only to know that they still have a world master in the god-defying realm. Before the lord of the god-defying realm Xiaomubai appeared, he learned from Duan Yue's voice transmission, in one of the 18 realms, like the anti-god realm, the realm masters are basically half-sages, that is, half-step realms, and there are more than one realm masters. As for the strong people in the realm of the world, they generally do not take the position of the world master and govern the realm. The meaning of their existence is to continue to become stronger and survive. The strength and stability of a realm depend on the strong. The realms other than the upper 3 realms and the middle 18 realms are just because there is not a strong enough existence to sit in, so they can only become vassals of the upper 3 realms and the middle 18 realms. Some weak realms were forcibly extracted from the realm by the strong because they were of little value, so they fell apart, the realm was shattered, and countless creatures were annihilated. Duan Ling Tian had heard of the power of the realm before, but he didn't know much about it. And now, as he asked, Duan Yue introduced to him that he also had a certain understanding of the power of the realm. The power of the realm, in addition to being able to pull out and reinforce the realm that you want to reinforce, can also be used by the strongest to comprehend the 4 ways and laws of heaven and earth. All in all, the power of the realm is a very good thing, something that is useful to the strongest. Sister Wei, she seems to have heard of this person's name? At this moment, facing Duan Yue's gaff, even Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but look at Duan Yue. Duan Yue's face also calmed down in this instant. She looked at Xiaomubai and said with complicated eyes, Xiaomubai, look beyond the world, and even the world, who doesn't know it? With the 4th order cultivation base, you will be invincible at the same level, facing the challenge of the 4th order powerhouse in the upper 3 worlds, and continue to be invincible without any defeat. Before you, another person who was recognized as having such strength was the time sword that you went out of the god realm, Zhuge asked. Ordinary 4th order powerhouses, no matter how strong they are, there will be people who can fight with them to a tie. You are all outliers. Duan Yue said that later. She looked at Xiaomubai again, obviously a little more fearful. He didn't expect it. This Xiaomubai has been promoted to the 5th rank. This also means that the strength of the other party is no longer weaker than her, and even more likely than her. After all, this Xiaomubai, when he was only the 4th rank, swept the land beyond the realm and even the 10,000 realms, and was recognized as the invincible 4th tier of the 10,000 realms. Of course, this matter is known only to the most powerful people in the world outside the world, and even the most powerful people in the world, and those who are close to them. Most people have no way of knowing. It is Duan Ling Tian, and it is only now that he knows. For a while, the eyes that looked at Xiaomubai again were also full of shock. This guy is a ruthless man. With the strength of the fourth order Xian, to the outside world, invincible under the fifth order Xian? Is it recognized as the fourth order invincible in all worlds? Duan Ling Tian never imagined that they had such a terrifying figure in the God realm. As for the Sword of Time Zhuge Dao, he had heard of it many times and knew that Zhuge Dao was a legendary figure who went out of the God realm. He is a ruthless man who has reached the 7th rank or higher of Kendo. In the land outside the world, and even the contemporary world, including those who are strong in the world, no one has realized the swordsmanship to the 7th level. As far as Duan Lingshan's current level of swordsmanship is concerned, it has been called a place outside the world, and even the top of the world. It is a pity that at that time, the lightsaber Zhuge asked, and he died before he had time to achieve the realm of realm. As for the cause of his death, there are many versions. Some people say that there is a saint who doesn't want him to grow up, and kills him first, strangling him in the cradle. Some people also said that he was trapped by love, and finally went into trouble and set himself on fire. Some people even said that he practiced swords like crazy, and in the end he smashed himself into 10,000 pieces. With so many different versions, Duan Ling Tian recognized the first one the most. Because, in the land outside the realm, many people say that if you let the time sword Zhuge ask to achieve the realm of the world and step into the realm of the saints, his strength is among the saints, and he is definitely top-notch. I don't know whether Master's current swordsmanship has stepped into the 7th order. At this time, Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but think of his master again, Feng Qingyang. His master might not be as good as him at the back, but his kendo has always been ahead of him. When his kendo first entered the 4th rank, his master's kendo seemed to have entered the 6th rank. Of course, at that time, he did not have the concept of kendo grading. But it is certain that at that time, his master's gentle kendo was no weaker than his current kendo. I'm honored to be able to make you Yi Bansheng remember me. Xiao Mubai smiled, but I don't know, what is the reason for the Saint Yu Yi who came to defy the realm of the gods? Do you need my Xiao Mubai's help? If there is, it's okay to say it in the middle of the night. Xiao Mubai has a hospitable host attitude. And the 3 supreme powerhouses of the god-defying realm behind him, as early as midnight Yu Yi mentioned Xiao Mubai's glorious deeds, an involuntary look of color appeared on their faces. After all, the world masters of the god-defying realm can be so famous outside the world, and even in all realms, as the supreme powers of the god-defying realm, they also have a light on their faces. I'm here for my brother and sister. Duan Yuwei glanced at Duan Ling Tian beside her, and said softly, "This is the younger brother I recognize, and you are from the god-defying realm. I heard from him that my younger brother and sister's soul was imprisoned by the souls of the Soul clan, so I wanted to come here. Please help. If Jieju Shao is willing to go with him, that would be great. After all, I am not fully sure." In front of Xiao Mubai, Duan Yuwei also put away the arrogance she had shown before the 3 superpowers in the god-defying realm, and became much humbler. "Duan Ling Tian, I have seen the world master." At the same time, Duan Ling Tian also took a step forward and bowed slightly to Xiao Mubai. This one is the realm master of their anti-god realm. The figure standing at the top of the pyramid of the gods. Duan Ling Tian? As Duan Ling Tian reported his name, apart from Xiao Mubai's calm expression, as if he had known it for a long time, the other 3 Xians from the god-defying realm behind him all shrank their pupils and showed a look of astonishment. This purple-clothed youth is Duan Ling Tian? The Duan Ling Tian who got a lot of Shenyunquan? For a time, after the 3 of them looked at Duan Ling Tian for a while, their eyes fell on Xiao Mubai again. Back then, it was the world lord of their anti-god realm who took out a large amount of Shenyunquan that he had obtained outside the realm and rewarded it to Duan Ling Tian. Of course, they can be sure that Duan Ling Tian has no connection with the world master himself. Duan Ling Tian can get those rewards, relying entirely on himself. But, even so, they couldn't help but feel a little jealous. After all, that is the god Yunquan. Chapter 4505, Even. The three supreme powers present, after knowing that Duan Lingtian had a large amount of Shen Yunquan in his hands, all had their own thoughts. However, in the end, Duan Lingtian seemed to have disappeared from the Xia family, the land of the gods, and there was no more sound, so they could only suppress their thoughts. In any case, Duan Lingtian is also the Shen Yunquan obtained by the fair and bright, and it is the reward that the world lord of their god-defying realm personally promised, and it is also something that the world lord himself took out. They can't be robbed openly, they can only come in secret. However, Duan Lingshan's disappearance left them with nowhere to go. But now, Duan Lingtian appeared again, but he came back from a place outside the world. Moreover, beside Duan Lingtian, there is also an existence with the same strength as their several world masters in the god-defying realm, the half-step world-respected powerhouse, the secluded night half-sage of the Thunder Holy Land outside the world. How can this Duan Lingtian invite a semi-sacred powerhouse? How many years has he disappeared from the scene, and he has become a god? Could it be because he became this man's favorite? With the help of this man, his strength has grown by leaps and bounds. But, this is not right. Just now, this half-sage called Duan Lingshan's wife, brother and sister. Yeah. This shows that Duan Lingtian can't be this man's favorite. In that case, why should he let the other party help? The three supreme powers, you and I communicated in secret through voice transmission. Looking at Duan Lingtian, he became more and more puzzled. They can't figure it out. How could this Duan Lingtian let the semi-sacred powerhouse from the outside world act for him in person? Of course, among the high-ranking gods, it is not that no one can let the semi-sacred powerhouse go out for them. However, those high-ranking gods are either invincible high-ranking gods, or are extremely close to the invincible high-ranking gods, and they are all top figures standing under the strongest. Duan Lingtian? The fact that the cultivation base can enter the realm of the upper gods in such a short period of time is enough to surprise and shock them, and there is a high probability that there is still the help of Shen Yunquan. As for Duan Lingshan's current strength, in their opinion, it is at most the level of ordinary upper gods. You can let Yu Yi Bansheng take action for you. Your growth rate is beyond my expectations. At this time, Xiao Mubai's eyes also fell on Duan Lingtian, with a look of surprise on his face. When Duan Lingtian heard Xiao Mubai's words, he was stunned. This figure standing at the top of the anti-god realm pyramid, the anti-god realm lord, is it possible that he still knows himself? Or, have you heard of yourself? However, after thinking about it, Duan Lingtian suddenly felt in his heart. At the beginning, he was a big show in the battlefield. According to the words of the supreme powerhouse of the Xia family in the land of the gods, many people were staring at the large amount of gods he got. Among them, it also includes a group of supreme powers. Under such circumstances, it is not surprising that the lord of the god-defying realm paid attention to himself. Of course, Duan Lingtian knew in his heart that the lord of the god-defying realm would most likely not covet the Shen Yunquan in his hands like those ordinary superpowers. Duan Lingtian. At this time, one of the three god-defying realm supreme powerhouses standing next to him seemed to see Duan Lingshan's doubts, and said in a sour tone, "Back then, the Shen Yunquan you got was what the world master got outside, and take it out as the final ranking reward of the plain battlefield." The words of this supreme power suddenly opened up a memory deep in Duan Lingshan's memory. "It's you?" Duan Lingtian suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Xiao Mubai, his eyes full of shock. "In the beginning, you sent me into the pool of Shen Yunquan? You sent me Shen Yunquan?" At this moment, Duan Lingtian completely remembered. No wonder, just now he felt that the other party's voice was a little familiar. Back then, although he didn't see with his own eyes the mysterious powerhouse who sent him into the Shen Yunquan and gave him the Shen Yunquan, but he had heard the voice of the other party. He also remembers, at the beginning, the superpower who took him to the past also respectfully called the other party adult. At that time, he was still thinking about what kind of existence a supreme power would be willing to honor as an adult. Now, he understands. It turned out that that person was the realm master of the anti-god realm. It's me. Xiao Mubai nodded. In the beginning, you performed well in the plain battlefield, so I gave you the Shenyungquan. Now it seems that I did the right thing. With that said, Xiao Mubai's gaze fell on Yi Bansheng next to Duan Lingtian. Today, when he saw Duan Lingtian returning with Bansheng Yi to see his wife's soul imprisoning by the people of the Soul clan, he guessed that Duan Lingshan's current weight is also very important in the heart of Bansheng Yi. It turns out that the Realm Master and my brother have known each other for a long time. Duan Yue also smiled slightly at this time. I have to say that the Realm Master is really discerning. My younger brother, although he is not young, his current strength is enough to cause a huge sensation in the world beyond the world, and even in the world. At least, looking at the past history of the world outside the world, and even the world, until now, I have never heard of anyone who can have his strength at his age. When Duan Yue said this now, she was naturally raising Duan Lingtian. Because, she saw, these supreme powers in the god-defying realm should not yet understand the current strength of the younger brother she recognized. Really? As soon as Duan Yue said these words, not only the three superpowers of the god-defying realm were stunned, but also the master of the god-defying realm, Xiao Mubai, who also looked at Duan Lingtian with condensed eyes for the first time. He didn't expect that this midnight saint would have such a high evaluation of Duan Lingtian. My younger brother, although he has not yet become an invincible high-ranking god, but, looking at the world beyond the realm, and even all worlds, under the invincible high-ranking god, there should be no one who is capable of defeating him alone. As soon as Duan Yue said these words, Rao Shi Xiao Mubai's face was calm since he appeared, and his eyes suddenly lit up. The other three god-defying realm's supreme powerhouses were stunned at this time, and their eyes were also full of unbelievable colors. Of course, in addition to disbelief, there are more doubts. Obviously, they don't quite believe the words of this half-sacred knight. Because in their eyes, this is almost impossible. Outsiders may not know how old Duan Lingtian is, but they are the most powerful people in Duan Lingshan's hometown of the god-defying realm. However, Xiao Mubai obviously believed Duan Yue's words. His gaze fell on Duan Lingtian, and his tone softened a lot at this moment. You are now in the realm of small perfection. Is it the law of time or the law of space? The laws of space. Duan Lingtian said. Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Xiao Mubai nodded. If you really have the invincible strength under the invincible superior gods. Sword Dao should be at least the 6th rank, right? Duan Lingtian nodded. After I showed my swordsmanship, they said this. The other three supreme beings in the god-defying realm were stunned and they heard the exchange between the two, as if they were petrified. Is it possible, it is true? And Duan Yue also looked at Duan Lingtian in surprise at this time. Xiao Tian, are you still good at the law of time? This time, before Duan Lingtian opened his mouth, Xiao Mubai said with a slight smile, Yi Bansheng, the younger brother you recognize is not only good at the law of time. His attainment in the law of life that you are good at is not low. In the small world in his body, there is a tree of life left after the death of a fourth-order powerhouse. Chapter 4506. The Tree of Life of the Fourth-Order Powerhouse. Hearing Xiao Mubai's words, Duan Lingshan's pupils shrank. He never imagined that the previous owner of the Tree of Life in his body turned out to be a fourth-tier Xian. You must know that the fourth-order Xian is close to the existence of half-step Jizuan. Compared to Xiao Mubai and Duan Yue, they are only one step behind. The three supreme powers of the god-defying realm also looked at Duan Lingtian with surprise. The Tree of Life of the fourth-order powerhouse? You must know that even the strongest of the three of them is only the second-tier Xian. Yes? When Duan Yue heard the words, she glanced at Duan Lingtian beside her in surprise, and then showed a bright smile, Xiao Tian, it seems that you have a great chance to become an invincible superior god. If the law of space doesn't work, just sprint for the law of time. If the law of time doesn't work, just sprint for the law of life. The three laws, I still don't believe it, you can't even realize the realm of great perfection. Duan Yue also just learned that Duan Ling Tian is also good at the law of time and the law of life. This also means that after Duan Ling Tian, the space law sprint to the invincible upper god venerable fails, and he can still try the time law and the life law. If you were an ordinary person, you would definitely not have the energy in time. But Duan Ling Tian, a man who is less than 3,000 years old now. He doesn't have much, just a lot of time. World Lord, how do you know that the tree of life in my body is the tree of life of a fourth-order powerhouse? Duan Ling Tian looked at Xiao Mubai and asked in surprise. Hearing this, Xiao Mubai smiled lightly. When you came to take Shen Yunquan, I felt the breath of an old friend in you. To be precise, it was the breath of the tree of life in the body of an old friend. I thought that after his death, he would disappear completely. But I didn't expect that his divine tree of life would turn to you. If he had a spirit in the sky, he would be able to rest his eyes. Leave behind after death, but still shine. This is the dream of all Xians who perished to protect the anti-god realm. Speaking of which, Xiao Mubai's smile faded and he became a little serious. After a moment, he shook his head. Okay, let's not talk about this sentimental topic. I will go with Yu Yi Bansheng and accompany you. When the voice fell, he greeted Yu Yi Bansheng Xingsheng, and at the same time, with a casual move, an invisible force dragged Duan Ling Tian and rushed up with Duan Ling Tian. There are only three supreme powers of the god-defying realm left, looking at each other in dismay. Really? That Duan Ling Tian now has the invincible strength under the invincible superior god? One of the strongest people is obviously a little unbelievable. To be precise, I can't believe it. Because, this is simply outrageous. You must know that throughout the past history of their anti-god realm, although there have been invincible existences under the invincible superior god venerable, there are only a few of them. Among those people, only two of them successfully became the invincible upper gods. In the era they lived in, the reputation of the anti-god realm outside the realm, and even the 10,000 realms, was not much weaker than that of the upper three realms. It should be true. Another Xian said with a dignified expression, the Midnight Saint Yu Yi is, after all, a half-step Jiazun. Her words shouldn't be false. Besides, her lie doesn't make much sense. After all, she is a semi-sage. As long as she is by Duan Lingshan's side for a moment, in the anti-god realm, it is impossible for anyone to blatantly harm Duan Ling Tian. The words of this superpower made the last superpower deeply agree. I think so too. Now, that Duan Ling Tian is no longer the little guy who could be needed by us. Now he can be regarded as the hope of the new generation of our god-defying realm. I remember, this paragraph of Ling Tian seems to be a disciple of the inner palace of the Wanfa Academy. I thought that Huangfu Mengyuan could become an existence close to the invincible high-ranking god, and it was enough to shock people. Now it seems that this Ling Tian is more enchanting than Huangfu Mengyuan. That Huangfu Mengyuan is Duan Lingshan's senior sister? Duan Ling Tian naturally couldn't hear the exchanges between the three supreme powers of the god-defying realm. Now, he is following Xiao Mubai, the realm master of the anti-god realm, and his older sister, Duan Yue of the Duan clan in the Thunder Holy Realm from the outer worlds, to one of the gods of the anti-god realm, the divine relic land. His wife Kir, the eldest young lady of the Xia family, is now in the Xia family, the giant god-level family in the land of the gods. The three appeared in the sky above the Xia family's mansion. There was no movement in the Xia family, and it was obvious that they didn't notice anything. Think about it too. No matter whether it is Duan Yue or Xiao Mubai, they are the existence of Banbu Jiazun. Even if the Xia family's most powerful person is in the Xia family, as long as they do not deliberately reveal their whereabouts, it will be difficult for the other party to find them. I called the Xian from the Xia family to come out. After Xiao Mubai spoke to Duan Yue, he sent out a message together. In the blink of an eye, a white light flew out from the depths of the Xia family mansion, and in a blink of an eye, it was in front of Duan Lingtian and the others. But it was an old man who looked ordinary and passed out. I have seen the world master. The old man is the ancestor of the Xia family, the only superpower of the Xia family, Xiaochuan. After he appeared, he immediately looked at Xiao Mubai and saluted respectfully. Duan Lingtian, I have seen my ancestor. And Duan Lingtian, while Xiaochuan saluted Xiao Mubai, bowed slightly to salute him. This old ancestor of the Xia family, before he left the anti-god realm, he had met once. Although they got along for a long time, the other party still gave him a lot of advice and reminders when he was about to go to the outside world. It can be said that he took a lot of detours. Kid Ling Tian and Xiaochuan only then came back to his senses and looked at Duan Lingtian. This. He's a little out of mind. His husband-in-law, who was a descendant of unknown generations, even he was amazed by the enchanting genius. How long did he go to the outside world, and then he came back? Moreover, who came back with him, and one of their several world masters in the god-defying realm? Xiaohequan. Xiao Mubai looked at Xiaochuan and introduced Duan Yue beside him. This one next to me is the midnight saint of the Duan clan in the Thunder Holy Land outside the world. Half-holy. Although Xiaochuan had never heard of Duan Yue's name, he also knew what the word half-sage meant. For a while, he hurriedly saluted Duan Yue. Xiaochuan, I have seen Yi Bansheng. Don't be too polite. Duan Yue smiled, since you are my brother's elder, you are your own, so you don't need to be so polite, younger brother. And Xiaochuan was stunned for a moment, and at the same time, he glanced at Duan Lingtian subconsciously. Duan Lingtian noticed Xiaochuan's gaze and smiled slightly. Old ancestor, Sister Wei and I are indeed brothers and sisters. I brought her back this time, just to show her to Kir. How's Kir doing recently? Having said this, the smile on Duan Lingshan's face disappeared instantly, replaced by a deep worry. Hearing this, Xiaochuan sighed. It's still the same. Although I want to help her slow down the corroding progress of the power of imprisoning her soul, but my strength is limited and I can't do it. He is only a second-tier superpower. Take me to meet my brother and sister. Duan Yue saw Duan Lingshan's worry, looked at Xiaochuan and said, Yes. Xiaochuan responded respectfully. Even if Duan Yue told him not to be polite, he couldn't really do that. After all, this is a half-step world-respected powerhouse. In the anti-god realm, it is the existence of the realm master level. In the anti-god realm, there are only a few realm masters, who are half-step successors of the 5th rank of the strongest. Chapter 4507. Although, from Duan Lingshan's point of view, it was after many years that he had returned to the god-defying realm and the Xia family, the land of the gods. However, for everyone in the Xia family, it was only a few years ago. After all, the years they lived were far longer than those of Duan Lingtian, and they lived a long time, which was naturally different from someone like Duan Lingtian who had only lived for more than 1,000 years. However, whether it was Xiaoyu, the head of the Xia family, or Xia Jie, the third master of the Xia family, they were quite shocked by Duan Lingshan's return. Because they never thought that Duan Lingtian would come back so soon. In particular, when they learned from the mouth of their Xia family ancestor Xiaochuan that Duan Lingtian came back this time and brought back an existence whose strength was comparable to that of their god-defying realm boundary master, they were even more shocked. Moreover, this strong man is also commensurate with Duan Lingshan's sister and brother. Call their daughters and nieces brothers and sisters. In the quiet courtyard, in the room, Duan Lingtian stayed alone in the room, quietly watching the beautiful woman lying on the bed, motionless. "Kir, embark." Duan Lingtian held his wife Kir's hand, and his eyes turned red involuntarily. At this moment, his heart that was as hard as iron seemed to be vulnerable. Noticing that his wife was motionless, Duan Lingtian didn't care whether she could hear it or not, and told her word by word about his experience of going to the outer worlds. "Speak slowly." At this moment, his backlogged emotions seemed to be vented. In the land outside the world, he worked hard for everything on his own, and he survived many times and died, and only then did he achieve what he is today. And a large part of the reason why he went through this was because of the supervision of his wife Kir's physical condition. After a long time, Duan Lingtian stood up and walked out of the room. "Sister Wei, Senior Xiao, please trouble you." After going out, Duan Lingtian looked at the stone table in the courtyard, a man and a woman who were received by Xiaofan, the ancestor of the Xia family, and said solemnly, "These two are the existences of the fifth order Xian, and the half-step world respects the powerhouse. The two of them joined forces, and they didn't know if they could get rid of the imprisoned soul on Kir." Duan Lingtian was at a loss. If these two are real world-class experts, that is, the saints in the mouths of people outside the world, he feels that the soul imprisonment on his wife Kir is likely to be released. How big is the gap between the semi-sage and the saint? He has been in the outside world for such a long time, and he knows something. However, right now, he still doesn't have the ability to let the saint take action for him. "Xiao Tian, don't worry, Jieju Xiao and I will do our best." Duan Yue said to Duan Lingtian with a smile, and at the same time she looked at Xiao Mubai next to her, and said with a straight face, "Xiao Jieju, if you can help me to help my younger brother and sister to release the soul imprisonment of the Soul Clan, I Duan Yue owe you a favor." Yu Yi Mid-Saint is joking. Hearing this, Xiao Mubai shook his head and glanced at Duan Lingtian at the same time. "Duan Lingtian and I are also related by fate. If I can help in this matter, naturally I won't let it go." In fact, at this time, Xiao Mubai secretly sighed in his heart. Duan Lingshan's wife Kir, although he did not personally investigate the situation, he had also heard reports from his subordinates. According to the report of the subordinates, it is the soul of the second-tier Xian clan. After they merged with the people of the anti-god realm, the soul is imprisoned. If it is only the first-tier supreme powerhouse clansmen, and their non-extreme powerhouses in the god-defying realm merge into one, their means will be greatly reduced. Under this circumstance, the soul was imprisoned, and he was very sure to expel it. But now, he doesn't even have a 10% certainty. Even if Duan Yue is still there, he doesn't think that the two of them will be able to join forces with more than 20%. However, he did not express his thoughts. Because he knew that saying these words at this time would be a huge blow to Duan Lingtian and Duan Yue. Duan Lingtian led Duan Yue and Xiao Mubai into the room. "Brother and sister are so beautiful." Rao Shi Duan Yue has seen countless beauties in her life, and when she saw the woman on the bed, she couldn't help but let out a sigh. While sighing, before Duan Yue reached the head of the bed, her divine sense also extended softly at the first moment, covering Kir's body. Seeing this scene, Duan Lingtian looked at it with a solemn expression, and his heart was full of anxiety. And Xiao Mubai, at this time, also extended his consciousness, and cooperated with Duan Yue to explore the power of Kir's soul together. It didn't take long for the two of them to discover the imprisoning power of the powerhouse of the Soul Clan, which enveloped the entire soul, and because of the time it had been enveloped, the enveloped soul had become much weaker. If it continues like this, I am afraid that within 1,000 years, the soul will be scattered. In just a few dozen breaths, Duan Yue and Xiao Mubai's consciousness retreated together. Then, Xiao Mubai shook his head gently. On the other hand, Duan Yue's face was ugly. The people from the Soul Clan who shot are definitely above the second rank of the strongest. Otherwise, if they are integrated with the non-superpowers, they will definitely not be able to display this level of soul confinement. Hearing Duan Yuwei's words, Duan Lingshan's originally nervous expression changed drastically. The Soul Clan clansman above the second rank of Xian? The remnant soul of the Soul Clan who merged with that Yunqing Yen turned out to be an existence above the second rank of Xian? The last thing he wanted to see happened, after all. Back then, that Yunqing Yen merged with the Soul Clan people to imprison Kir's soul. His knowledge of the Soul Clan people was limited to the extreme powerhouse. Later, after knowing that the strongest are also divided into 3, 6 and 9, and their strength is divided into many levels, he thought more than once, at that time, what level of the powerhouse would the Soul Clan people who merged with Yunqing Yen be? If it is only the first order Xian, the soul imprisonment under it should be easier to solve. If not, it must be difficult to understand. If it's a first-tier Xian Soul Clan clansman, with the remnant soul and the non-Xiong power being integrated into one, the power of the soul will definitely be greatly reduced. With the strength of me and Xiao Jieju, it is not difficult to remove the soul left behind. Confinement lifted. Duan Yuwei sighed, it's a pity that it's not a soul imprisoned under the Soul Clan of the first-tier Xian. The other party is at least the second-tier Xian. Xiao Tian, I'm sorry, I couldn't help my younger brother and sister out of trouble. Duan Yuwei looked at Duan Lingtian and apologized again and again. And Duan Lingtian also came back to his senses at this time, shook his head and smiled bitterly, Sister Wei, you don't need to apologize, you can come with me, you already have the intention. As for whether it can unlock Kir's soul imprisonment, I knew from the beginning, it depends on luck. It seems that luck is average. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was naturally full of disappointment. However, there is nothing to be done. But at this time, Duan Yuwei continued, although there is no way to remove the soul imprisonment for my younger brother and sister. But, if I join forces with Xiao Jieju, we can still retain our soul power to resist that soul imprisonment in the depths of my younger brother and sister's consciousness. Power. This will buy some more time. In this way, the soul of the younger brother and sister will not be wiped out so early. As soon as Duan Yuwei said these words, Duan Lingshan's eyes suddenly lit up. In fact, he is going to ask the 2.5 saints in front of him next. Now, Duan Yuwei said it first, the disappointment in his heart was gone, and it was replaced by surprise. As long as he can buy more time, he believes that in the future, he will definitely be able to ask the saint to take action. In the blink of an eye, Duan Lingshan's mood felt as if he had experienced a double heaven of ice and fire. Then next, I will trouble Sister Wei and Senior Xiao. Duan Lingtian will never forget this kindness. Duan Lingtian said solemnly. You and I have a sister and brother, there is no need for this. Duan Yuwei shook her head and smiled. And Xiao Mubai shook his head and said, you are one of the younger generation in the God-defying realm, and I am one of the people I like the most. This trivial matter, as Yu Yi Banqing said, really doesn't need to be the case. Chapter 4508. In fact, when I came back this time, the result was beyond Duan Lingshan's expectations. Therefore, after Duan Yuwei and Xiao Mubai helped Kir, he was in a good mood when he got together with the head of the Xia family, Xia Yu, and the third master of the Xia family, Xia Jie. At this time, Xiao Mubai had already left. Of course, before he left, Duan Yuwei told him that he would leave the anti-god realm within 2 days and would not stay here for long. Because, 2 days later, her younger brother Duan Lingtian will also set off to a place of return to the ruins discovered by the sage Power Bibo Tianfu. Duan Yuwei didn't have any intention of concealing the place of return to the ruins. In fact, there is no need to hide it. Bibo Tianfu, as a sage power, it found the place of return to the ruins. There are people who are jealous, and how many people dare to go to him to get a piece of the pie? A number of saint forces joined forces, but they could force Bibo Tianfu to bow their heads. However, once this kind of thing is a precedent, and other sage forces discover the land of return to the ruins in the future, isn't it necessary to give other sage forces a share? Therefore, the sage forces of all parties reached a consensus a long time ago. Among the sage forces, whoever discovers the place of return to the ruins belongs to whom, and other sage forces must not have the idea of a share. The land of return to ruins? Restrictions, under the Xian, the fourth rank of Kendo? And when Duan Yuwei mentioned the conditions to be met by those who entered the place of return to the ruins in Bibo Tianfu, she couldn't help but be a little surprised. There is such a request. That place of return to the ruins is most likely created by an existence who is good at swordsmanship. There are two types of return to the ruins. The first is formed by the rules of heaven and earth. This is also a pure natural return to the ruins. There is no specific test in it, but if you want to find something in it, you need a lot of effort. Such places of return to the ruins are often more dangerous. It has no restrictions on entrance, and even the strongest in the world can enter. However, there are some dangers in it, and even the strongest in the world may perish because of a single thought. Of course, such places of return to the ruins are relatively rare, and once they appear, they are all explored by the forces of saints in all worlds and even beyond the world. If any sage power covets such a place of return, there is often only one result, that is the death of saints and the withering of power. For countless years, there have been many sage forces, all because they want to swallow such a place of return to the ruins, so the final end is not very good. And if more sage forces participate, the risks can be shared equally. At the same time of sharing the risks, it is possible to take advantage of the chaos. Another place to return to the ruins. It is like the place of return to the ruins that Bibo Tianfu discovered this time. These places of return to the ruins are said to be the treasures left by the ancient powers in the ancient times, when there was no distinction between the 10,000 worlds and the outside world. And the ancient powerhouses who can leave the land of return to the ruins are said to have stepped into the existence of the seventh order Xian or above. You must know that the strength of the ceiling in the world and beyond the world today is the saint, that is, the powerhouse of the world. And these existences, among the strongest, are considered to be the sixth order powerhouse, commonly known as the extreme sixth order. What is the concept of existence above the seventh order Xian? That is to say, those ancient powerhouses who left the land of return to the ruins, whoever walks out of one person, can hang any top powerhouses in the world and beyond. Duan Ling Tian, that place of return to the ruins is most likely left by a strong swordsman from the ancient times. For you, it may be a chance or a disaster. Listen to what you just said, after you arrived in the land outside the world, you haven't entered the land of return to the ruins. As a forerunner of the anti-God realm, let me give you a piece of advice: in the land of return to the ruins, you must be bold. Mind, don't take any risks, and don't be afraid. Only in this way can you ensure that you can maximize your gains in the land of return to ruins. Before leaving the Xia family, Xiao Mubai deliberately left a piece of advice to Duan Ling Tian, which could be regarded as a wake-up call to Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian is one of the young people he is most optimistic about in the anti-God realm. If possible, he naturally hopes that Duan Ling Tian can take off and become the top powerhouse in the world and even beyond the world. That, for the anti-God realm, is a great deed. He didn't stop Duan Ling Tian from taking risks. Because he knows that there are some risks that must be taken on the road of growth of the strong. Just like when he wandered outside the world, he also entered many places of return to the ruins, several times, and almost lost his life. It can be said that it is because of those experiences that he is who he is today. In the anti-God realm, the youngest world lord and the youngest half-step world venerable in history, Xiao Jiezu, is the youngest half-step Jiezuan in the history of the anti-God realm. When Duan Ling Tian learned this from the mouth of Xia Jie, the third master of the Xia family, he couldn't help but be startled. is that senior sword of time not as good as him? Time sword. That is the god-defying powerhouse. Even in a place outside the realm, he has heard people mention the time sword many times, a super strong person who is good at kendo, who is a strong person who has gone out from the god-defying realm. It is a pity that Tian, jealous of Inkai, the senior of the time sword, died before he stepped into the realm of Jiazun. Before Jiazhu Shao, senior sword of time did indeed hold the record of the youngest half-step Jiazuan and the youngest Jiazhu in the anti-god realm. However, the appearance of Jiazhu Shao broke this record. When Xia Jia mentioned Shao Mubai, the world master of the god-defying realm, his eyes were full of reverence. I heard from the ancestors, when Shao Jiazhu first entered the Xian, he was the existence of the third-order Xian. At that time, in the entire anti-god realm, under the fourth-order Xian, no one was his opponent. When he stepped into the fourth-order Xian, he continued to be invincible in the fourth-order Xian. Moreover, his fourth-order invincibility can defeat any of the fourth-order Xians in our anti-god realm within 3 moves. The presence. It's this kind of invincibility. Xia Jia's words made Duan Lingtian take a deep breath. That world lord Shao was so strong. I heard from the ancestors that even if Jia Master Shao walked out of the god-defying realm and went to a place outside the realm, he had achieved a great reputation. The existence under the 5th rank of the Xian was basically not the Xian at that time. His opponent of Tier 4. Later, he returned to the anti-god realm and was promoted to become a top 5-tier powerhouse, and became the realm master of the anti-god realm. Having said this, Xia Jia paused for a while, and said to Duan Lingtian through voice transmission, "It is said that the powerful Jia Zun realm in the legend of the anti-god realm is the father of Shao Jiazhu, his biological father." As soon as these words came out, Duan Lingtian was shocked. Dare to be affectionate, Jiazhu Shao is not only his own talent and strength, but also his background, which is also so terrifying. The only Jia Zun realm powerhouse in the god-defying realm turned out to be Jia Master Shao's biological father? That is the backbone of the anti-god realm based on the 10,000 realms middle 18 realms. Chapter 4509. Xia Jia's remarks also gave Duan Lingtian a better understanding of Shao Mubai, the world master of the god-defying realm. It turned out that the world lord Shao was so terrifying. Now, in the anti-god realm, apart from his father, the legendary Jia Zun realm powerhouse, he is probably the strongest. Moreover, Xia Jia also said, according to what Xia Hechuan, the ancestor of the Xia family, said, the world masters of the god-defying realm, except for the world master Shao, are all retreating to improve their strength. Because they are now more and more struggling to deal with the 10,000-year catastrophe. If the strength can't keep up, it won't take long before they will perish under the 10,000 years heavenly tribulation. Duan Lingtian was there, shocked by the power of Shao Mubai, the world master of the god-defying realm, and the amazing background. On this side, Shao Mubai returned to his cultivation place. After seeing his middle-aged men, he rarely smiled, "You know. I went out this time, who did I meet? Who did the Lord see?" The middle-aged man asked curiously. If Duan Lingtian is here and sees this middle-aged man, he will definitely recognize it at a glance. This one is the one who appeared on the plain battlefield back then and took him to the place where Shen Yunquan was located. At that time, he heard this, and called the other supreme power Sir. And that supreme power is Shao Mubai. Duan Lingtian. Shao Mubai returned to the pavilion, sat at the table, made a pot of tea, and drank leisurely. Duan Lingtian? The middle-aged man was startled at first, then his pupils shrank. Is the one who got Shen Yunquan last time? He is back. The middle-aged man frowned. Is he a little unreasonable? When he left, I thought he could handle it. Now what are you doing when you come back? Think he can wrestle with those old guys? The Shen Yunquan in his hand, those old guys all want it. The middle-aged man said later, his tone was obviously a little more worried. Although he didn't get along much with that Duan Ling Tian, but because he admired the other party, he naturally hoped that the other party could grow up well, and he didn't need to face the embarrassment of some greedy old guys. Okay. Xiao Mubai nodded, he's back. As for you saying he thinks he can wrestle with those old guys. Speaking of this, Xiao Mubai's eyes became a little weird. This time he came back. It's not just as simple as wrestling with those old guys. Those old guys really dare to shoot at him, unless I and the retreating ones shoot, no one can save them. As soon as Xiao Mubai said these words, the middle-aged man's eyes widened in shock. Sir, what do you mean by this? Is it possible he has become a superpower? When the middle-aged man asked here, his eyes were filled with astonishment and disbelief. That little guy. Just become the strongest? No. Xiao Mubai shook his head, and then said again, is it possible you didn't hear the news? Outside, a distinguished guest came to our anti-god realm. The middle-aged man pondered for a moment, his pupils shrank suddenly. Is it possible? That night half-sage from the Thunder Holy Land outside the world, the half-step Holy Land powerhouse, the person who follows her from the god-defying realm is Duan Ling Tian. That's right. Xiao Mubai nodded, it's Duan Ling Tian. He turned out to be willing to degenerate and become Midnight's favorite boy? The middle-aged man's face was filled with hatred. Xiao Mubai said angrily, what nonsense. Haven't you always been optimistic about him? Are you so unconfident in him? Or, in your eyes, is he like this? My lord, do you know something? The middle-aged man's expression softened a bit and asked. The news he received was that someone in their anti-god realm had become the male pet of Midnight Yu Yi and returned from outside the realm with Midnight Yu Yi, and he didn't know what to do. The Midnight Saint Yu Yi recognized Duan Ling Tian as her younger brother. As for why she did this, she just wanted to invest in Duan Ling Tian in advance. Guess, what is the current strength of Duan Ling Tian? Xiao Mubai asked. Do not know. The middle-aged man shook his head. However, I can make that Banbu Jiezuan condescend to recognize him as his younger brother. He must be a high-ranking god, and his strength should not be weak. Yu Yi Bansheng seems to be good at the law of life. With her attainments in the law of life, she must have seen that Duan Ling Tian is young. The middle-aged man said. He is indeed already a high-ranking god. Xiao Mubai nodded, and then said again, but, it's not an ordinary high-ranking god. He, with his current strength, under the invincible superior god Venerable, no one should be able to defeat him. And this is what Yu Yi Bansheng told me personally. Xiao Mubai said. What? And the middle-aged man was stunned when he heard Xiao Mubai's words. Unexpectedly, the little guy back then, in a blink of an eye, actually stood at the pinnacle of the upper gods. Under the invincible superior god, no one can defeat him? Isn't it possible to step into the realm of the invincible upper at any time and become the invincible upper god? Thinking of this, the middle-aged man's breathing became rapid in an instant. Sir, he may become the fourth person in the history of our anti-god realm after you, your father, and senior sword of time. The invincible superior to achieve the strongest, yes. In the history of the anti-god realm, there have actually been quite a few invincible high-ranking gods, not dozens, but a dozen. However, only Xiao Mubai's father, and the Sword of Time can become the strongest. As for Duan Ling Tian, from the point of view of a middle-aged man, Duan Ling Tian is still so young, and he has become like this. Once he becomes an invincible high-ranking god, he will have enough time to hit the realm of the strongest. Maybe. Xiao Mubai smiled slightly. I didn't expect that among the people I was most optimistic about, in a blink of an eye, he turned out to be at the forefront. It's more than his senior sister Huangfu Mengyuan. Huangfu Mengyuan. Duan Lingshan's eldest sister in Wanfa Academy's inner palace, the eldest sister that Duan Ling Tian has not seen so far, is the best among the young people Xiao Mubai had been most optimistic about. My lord, at that time the successor of the lightsaber, Duan Lingshan's master, Feng Qingyang, also went to the outside world. His swordsmanship is definitely the strongest under the time sword in the history of our god-defying realm. If he does not die, it should also be expected to become an invincible upper god, right? The swordsmanship of the 7th rank and above. Even if the time law he is good at is only the realm of small perfection, after stepping into the realm of the upper gods, his strength can be comparable to that of the invincible upper gods. He and Duan Lingtian, really a terrifying pair of master and apprentice. The wind is light. After Duan Lingtian left the anti-god realm that year, he did not stay in the anti-god realm for a long time, so he left the anti-god realm and went to a place outside the realm through the relationship with the Wanfa Academy. Certainly. Now, Duan Lingtian doesn't know this yet. At this moment, Duan Lingtian left with Duan Yue after staying in the Xia family for a day and a night. He is in Thunder Holy Land, and he has something to do. This time, he was in a hurry, and he had Duan Yue by his side, so he couldn't bear the urge to see his family in the mundane plane. When I come back next time, they'll see my parents and the others. And Fantasia. Before the law clone I left behind collapsed, her strength had already stepped into the realm of the Emperor. Judging from her entry, these years have passed, should she be a now? When he left, Duan Lingshan's thoughts also flew out far away. Chapter 45:10. After leaving the land of God's relic and the anti-god realm, Duan Yue took Duan Lingtian all the way to the teleportation formation in the anti-god realm. According to Duan Yue's words, it is still necessary to go back to the teleportation formation of the anti-god realm that he arrived earlier, and only that teleportation formation can accurately teleport to the Thunder Saint realm. Other teleportation arrays, although possible, have certain uncertainties. The upper 3 realms and the middle 18 realms in myriad realms basically have only one precise teleportation array, because the accuracy of the teleportation array is related to the strength of the realm's power. As for other realms, such as the teleportation formation that Duan Lingtian had visited before, the reincarnation realm of the anti-god realm, which went to places beyond the realm, was not accurate. Don't say that you don't lock the destination to teleport. Even if you lock the destination to shuttle, it is very likely to be teleported to other places. Duan Lingtian was deeply touched by this. At the beginning, when he went to the outside world through the teleportation array on the other side of the reincarnation world, he was directly teleported to the edge area of the outside world, the Tiansha realm. Moreover, it is still within the sea area near Tiansha realm. Thinking of the hardships along the way at that time, Duan Lingtian still has lingering fears. Red Devil. In the future, when I become a superpower, I will have to go to the Tiansha realm again and talk to the Red Devil of the Red Devil Ridge. In Duan Lingshan's eyes, a cold light flashed. At the beginning, he almost fell into the hands of the supreme power Red Devil. So many high-ranking gods. When Duan Yue brought Duan Lingtian back to the teleportation formations in the anti-god realm, Duan Lingtian saw many high-ranking gods appearing near the teleportation formations. Now, these high-ranking gods are gathering together, listening to the command of one of the 3 supreme powers he had met before, leaving the teleportation formation in an orderly manner and returning to the god-defying realm. Seeming to see Duan Lingshan's doubts, Duan Yue said, "The teleportation formation of Wuxia, the only place beyond the realm and the space barrier of Wuxia. Near the teleportation formation, there are often big monsters running rampant, strong but not strong. It is Lingji, it's not high, and generally the upper gods can handle it. The existence of those big monsters will have a certain impact on the teleportation array, and may even destroy the teleportation array. And this kind of big monster, it is impossible for the strongest to deal with it all the time. Therefore, the major realms of the world generally send a group of high-ranking gods on a regular basis to take turns to clear these big monsters in places outside the realm and near space barriers." Demon. Duan Yuwei's words also made some of Duan Lingshan's past confusions clear. Before he left the anti-god realm, he had heard that the high-ranking gods in the anti-god realm, after stepping into the high-ranking gods for a period of time, would be forced to leave the anti-god realm and go to places outside the realm. Dare to be affectionate is to remove those big demons that affect the teleportation array. I've seen the Midnight Saint. Except for one supreme power who led a group of high-ranking gods from the god-defying realm to leave the teleportation formation, the other two supreme powers discovered Duan Lingtian and Duan Yuwei after realizing it, and saluted Duan Yuwei immediately. You too, my affairs in the anti-god realm are over, and now I have to go back to the Thunder Holy Land, trouble for you too. Duan Yuwei nodded to the two of them and said bluntly. I would like to serve you, ye mid-saint. The two were busy for a while, and opened the teleportation array, allowing Duan Yuwei and Duan Lingtian to leave the teleportation array on the side of the anti-god realm and return to the Thunder Saint realm. However, when they returned to the Thunder Holy Land, it was not the teleportation formation that appeared when they came. Appeared in another place. For Duan Lingtian, it was a completely unfamiliar place. I didn't expect to come to the area under the control of Qingyun Shengzong. After appearing, Duan Yuwei glanced around and saw a slightly familiar face. After a brief recollection, she seemed to have thought of something and muttered. And when Duan Lingtian heard her words, his heart moved slightly. Qingyun Shengzong. Of course had heard of it. Because, Qingyun Shengzong is also one of the saint forces in Lei Sheng, and it is no weaker than Bibo Tianfu. Whoosh! While Duan Lingshan's thoughts were flying, a figure galloped from a distance, and in a blink of an eye, it was not far in front of the two of them. The person who came was an old man who was over-old, wearing a light blue robe. After he appeared at this time, his eyes were staring at Duan Yuwei. Yi Bansheng, rare guest. Which realm of myriad realms did you go to? The person who came, stared at Duan Yuwei with a teasing expression, and asked. Which world do I go to? I don't need to report to you, Fu Liangyu, right? Duan Yuwei glanced at the old man in green robe lightly, and there was no politeness in her words. She has some grudges with the Fu family where Fu Liangyu belongs. To be precise, he had some grudges with Fu Liangjia's eldest brother, the semi-sage of the Fu family. The Fu family's status under the Qingyun sect is almost equal to the Duan family's status under the Bibo Tianfu, and it is also a semi-sacred force. As for Fu Liangyu in front of him, he is considered a strong person in the Fu family, and his strength is second only to his elder brother, the half-sage of the Fu family. That's natural. Fu Liangyu smiled sullenly. After all, you are a saint in the dark night. Humph. Duan Yuwei snorted coldly, then did not stay, took Duan Lingtian and left directly. Fu Liangyu, on the other hand, looked at their backs from a distance, a sharp light flashed in his eyes, and sent a message directly to the half-saint family behind him, the Fu family. Big brother, that Duan Yuwei, I don't know which realm I came back from, and it happened to appear in the teleportation array area where I was on duty. Now, she is heading towards Bibo Tianfu. Fu Liangjia's message was sent back to Fu's house. Immediately, within the Fu family, a figure burst out of the sky and galloped towards the Bibo Tianfu. At the same time, two messages were also sent out by him. Old Ghost Han, haven't you always wanted to repay my favor? Today, as long as you help me kill that Duan Yuwei, the favor you owe me will be repaid. Brother Tuoba, Duan Yuwei accidentally teleported to the area of our Qingyun Shengzong alone with a high-ranking god, and is now heading to Bibo Tianfu. This is a good opportunity to kill her, come quickly. Okay? After leaving the teleportation formation, Duan Lingtian felt that Duan Yuwei's face became extremely solemn, and she didn't even chat with him as usual. Even, Duan Yuwei is taking him on the road now, although he can't see the situation along the way, but he can also see, Duan Yuwei, there is a high probability that she is on her way at full speed. What's the situation? Could it be because of that person just now? The current Duan Yue gives Duan Lingtian the feeling that she is running for her life. That's right. Just run for your life. It was hard for him to imagine what could make Duan Yue lose her temper like this and run for her life at full speed. Are the saints going to make a move? Or how many demigods? Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian only felt a tingling in his scalp, my sister who was forced to admit. Who the did I offend in this Qingyun Shengzong area? Chapter 45:11. Duan Yui's current state is obviously not quite right. This made Duan Lingtian, who had some vague guesses, but couldn't help but feel a great sense of crisis. To make Duan Yue Tang Yuyi Bansheng leave in such a panic, obviously, the imminent danger is also fatal to Duan Yue, otherwise she would not be like this. Can Duan Lingtian not panic for making a half-sage so rude? Now he is not even the strongest. Wrong. It should be said that now, he is not even the invincible superior god venerable whose strength is closest to the strongest. Although it can be said that it is only one step away, but this one step is like a gulf. A genuine and invincible high-ranking who has comprehended a certain law to the realm of great perfection, if he wants to kill him now, even if he is in excellent condition and makes all his efforts, it is almost impossible to survive after 10 moves. It should be fine, right? I still have a lot to do. Kir hasn't woken up yet. Now Duan Lingtian is a little anxious. After all, this kind of crisis, if he was alone, would be difficult to encounter. After all, it came from the interception of possible multiple demigods, or saints. Xiaotian, I will find a random place to drop you in front of me later, and you will go to the direction of Bibo Tianfu. The direction is the direction we are going now. Of course, you'd better take a detour. Just now, the people in the Fu family also saw you, maybe they didn't see you beside me, and they would search you. Duan Yui's message was passed into Duan Lingshan's ears. This voice, like a reassurance needle, made Duan Lingtian heave a sigh of relief. It's not that he is greedy for life. Instead, if he stayed, even if he died worthless and meaningless. Not to mention the sage's shot, even if it is a half-sage, if he raises his hand casually, he can be crushed to death with one finger. Sister Wei, after you put me down, is there anything you want me to do? Duan Lingtian asked Duan Yue through voice transmission. Now the two are on their way at an extremely fast speed, and it is difficult to communicate with each other, so they can only communicate through voice transmission. As for Duan Yue, when she heard what he said, she sighed and said after a long while, if I am alive this time, there is nothing you need to do. If I die, it will be in vain to tell you anything. If I die, the Duan clan will definitely decline. As for what happens in the future, we can only see their fortunes. Duan Yui's words made Duan Lingtian even more uneasy. Is she so unhappy? Sister Wei, can you tell me? Before Duan Lingtian finished speaking, he was interrupted by Duan Yue. Duan Yui's voice transmission was full of urgency and determination. Xiaotian, I'll let you down here. The old guy from the Fu family who has a grudge against me is coming soon. With him, there are 2 other guys who are not weaker than him, but it's not that easy to keep me. Duan Yue. As soon as Duan Yue finished speaking, Duan Lingtian felt a thrust pushing him away, and then wrapped himself in a very fast speed. After decelerating until later, he can already control the power in his body and control his body. He dodged, and his figure disappeared directly into the lush forest beneath his feet, and then he walked quietly all the way. However, they did not follow Duan Yue in the same direction. Not long after Duan Lingtian landed, he heard 3 superimposed rapid wind whistles coming from his ears. The wind whistling was short-lived, but he could still hear it clearly. 3 semi-sacred powerhouses? Duan Lingshan's face also became extremely solemn at this moment. At the same time, there was a look of helplessness on his face. He is too weak. Staying by Duan Yuwei's side can only hold her back. The most urgent task is to get back to the Duan family first. As for Sister Wei, she can only rely on herself. She is a semi-sacred powerhouse, so there shouldn't be an accident, right? But, it was the other 3 semi-sacred powerhouses who were chasing her. Pay home. Now, Zhou Xiaojun also remembered that when he left the teleportation formation just now, the person who greeted him seemed to be from the Fu family. The other party, named Fu Liangyu. No wonder the other party's words are so unkind. It turns out that the Fu family and Sister Wei have a grudge. These 3 semi-sages should also be found by him. As for Duan Yuwei's enmity with the Fu family, why didn't he kill Fu Liangyu who was in the teleportation array just now? Duan Lingtian can easily guess, it must be because the teleportation array belongs to the Qingyun sect of the saints. And Fu Liangyu, who is on duty there, can also be regarded as the representative of Qingyun Shengzong. If Fu Liangyu were killed there, he would definitely offend the Qingyun sect. When the Qingyun sect was angry, let alone Duan Yuwei, even the entire Duan clan would not be able to protect him. Duan Yuwei caused trouble first, and the Bibo Tianfu behind the Duan family might not necessarily protect Duan Yuwei and the Duan family. Take a detour and be safe. Although he felt that the 3 half-sages had no time to pay attention to him, Duan Lingtian cautiously took a detour for the sake of caution. Finally, after half a day, he successfully entered the area governed by Bibo Tianfu. It's safe. He knew that stepping on this land also meant that he was safe. At this time, there is no need to hide and fly directly to where the Tourmaline Holy City is located. Of course, his heart was still very uneasy. I hope Sister Wei is safe and sound. Although, judging from Duan Yuwei's reaction when she was chased and killed, this possibility is not very high, but Duan Lingtian still hopes that there will be a miracle. Duan Yuwei, being good to him may be a plot for him in the future. However, he did pay his sincerity, and it was not a useless use. Moreover, the reason why Duan Yuwei was in danger this time, in the final analysis, has something to do with him. If it wasn't for him to ask Duan Yuwei to return to the God realm for help, Duan Yuwei would not have appeared in the area governed by the Qingyun sect through the teleportation array, and would not have met the people of the Fu family. If you don't meet people from the Fu family, you won't usher in the pursuit of the 3 great demigods. Sister Wei. If something happens to you, when I have enough strength in the future, as long as the person who killed you is still alive, I will send him to Huangquan Road to be a cow and a horse for you. In Duan Lingshan's eyes, a cold light appeared, as if he had chosen someone to devour him. After rushing for more than an hour, the outline of the Tourmaline Holy City has already appeared in front of Duan Lingtian. Passing through the Tourmaline Holy City, go in the other direction of the Tourmaline Holy City. There is also the residence of the Duan clan. If the head of the family learns about the death of Sister Wei, I am afraid that the entire Duan family will be in turmoil. I don't know if it will affect this trip to the ruins. I hope it doesn't affect it. However, even if it is affected, I say hello to the envoy of the Bibo Tianfu, and there should still be a chance to enter the place of return to the ruins. For Duan Lingtian, the return to the ruins in Bibo Tianfu was both an opportunity and an examination. The reason why it is said to be an exam is because, as long as he performs well in it, Bibo Tianfu will definitely value him and take the initiative to recruit him. You must know that being recruited and actively seeking to join are 2 different concepts. Sister Wei, don't blame me for leaving the Duan clan, you should also know that the Duan clan is just a springboard I chose. Going to Bibo Tianfu will make it easier for me to become stronger. In this way, the day of revenge for you will be getting closer and closer. When he was alone and appeared outside the Duan family's residence, Duan Lingshan's heart silently said to Duan Yuwei, whose life and death were uncertain, and there was a high probability that something had happened. Chapter 45-12. The Residents of the Duan Clan. Duan Lingtian, as a great worshipper of the Duan clan, now enters the Duan clan, naturally, all the way unimpeded. When he first entered the Duan clan, Duan Lingtian didn't feel much. The elders and children of the Duan clan, who were in charge of patrolling on the periphery, were conscientious and conscientious. They greeted him when they saw him. From their expressions, they could not see anything unusual. However, after entering the Duan clan, Duan Lingtian immediately contacted Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan. Duan Bing's response made Duan Lingtian startled. Duan Bing's reaction is normal. Even, the first sentence is, Lingtian worship, you came back with the ancestors? Patriarch, I came back alone. Where are you? Duan Lingtian messaged, I have something urgent to report to you. Come directly to my place. Duan Bing said. It is good. After Duan Lingtian responded, he went directly to Duan Bing. On the way, he also calmed down. Now, there is no bad reaction from the patriarch, which means that Sister Wei is likely to be alive. Otherwise, if Sister Wei's soul card shatters, the patriarch will definitely react. Soul cards are similar to soul beads, which can give feedback on a person's life and death. However, soul cards are much better than soul orbs. The soul left in the soul bead will disintegrate with the passage of time. And the soul card can lock the power of the soul left by a person. Unless the person dies, the soul card will always preserve the power of the soul and will not let the locked soul power collapse. Lingtian worship, what is your urgent need to find me? Duan Bing asked curiously. Duan Bing didn't feel anything unusual about Duan Lingtian coming alone. After all, the one who went out with Duan Lingtian this time was the ancestor of their Duan clan, Yi Bansheng. If their old ancestor came with Duan Bing now, he might still be surprised. He only thought that the old ancestor of their Duan clan went back to his cultivation place after returning. Patriarch, Sister Wei's soul card, is it still okay? Regarding the fact that the ancestor of the Duan clan recognized Duan Lingtian as his younger brother, long before Duan Lingtian and Duan Yue left the Duan clan together this time, Duan Yue had already informed Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan, and the other three Xian 4 of the Duan clan. Existence of order. Because of this, Duan Lingtian mentioned the word Sister Wei, and Duan Bing could connect with his ancestors immediately. However, Duan Lingshan's words made Duan Bing's complexion change instantly. Lingtian worship, what do you mean by that? Duan Bing looked at Duan Lingtian again, and it became extraordinarily sharp, and even his face changed completely. Old ancestor, what happened in the anti-god realm? The anti-god realm is one of the 18 realms in the 10,000 realms. It is said that there is a strong saint in the city, and there are many semi-sacred existences below. The old ancestor of their Duan clan had entered the god-defying realm. If the powerhouses of the god-defying realm were to harm her, they might have left her completely. Sister Wei didn't come back with a message? Duan Lingtian took a deep breath, and when he heard Duan Bing's words, he suddenly realized that Sister Wei did not send a message back to the Duan clan. Or you can say, Sister Wei had a message to return to the Duan clan, but she was stopped on the way. Lingtian worship, what happened? Now, Duan Bing has lost his temper, and there is a tinge of blood on his eyes. Their Duan clan is such a semi-sacred powerhouse. It can be said that the status of the Duan clan today is entirely dependent on their half-sacred ancestor of the Duan clan, Yi Bansheng, Duan Yue. Patriarch. Duan Lingtian didn't dare to hesitate, and hurriedly told Duan Bing what happened after returning himself and Duan Yue to the out-of-bounds land. After he finished speaking, he couldn't help but wonder, in such a case, Sister Wei shouldn't have come back without a message. It won't come back. Duan Bing shook his head with an ugly face, and at the same time said under Duan Lingshan's blank look, there is the site of the Qingyun sect, and within the area controlled by the Qingyun sect, there is a special formation to block the communication. The ancestors' communication. You can't get out of the area of Qingyun Shengzong at all, and you will be stopped at the edge of Qingyun Shengzong. Similarly, the communication from our side of Bibo Tianfu is difficult to go out, and it will be stopped by the special formation established by Bibo Tianfu. For the sage forces, it's also a way for them to swear their sovereignty. The words fell. Duan Bing's face suddenly softened a little, and he said to Duan Lingtian, I just called the elder in the clan who is responsible for supervising the soul card. The ancestors' soul card is still intact. This also shows that the ancestors are safe and sound. Lingtian worship, you are ready to prepare. Tomorrow morning, the special envoy from Bibo Tianfu will take you and our Duan clan to the place of return to the ruins discovered by Bibo Tianfu this time. Duan Bing said to Duan Lingtian, it is good. Duan Lingtian responded, and at the same time secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Since Sister Wei is all right now, maybe she has escaped the interception of those semi-sacred powerhouses. Of course, Duan Lingtian knew in his heart that Sister Wei might not be all right, and she might still be struggling. But, even so, he knew that he couldn't do anything. Don't say that you don't know where the other party is now. Even if you know, with his strength, it's still cannon fodder to go up. The cannon fodder is not a problem, and it may also hold the opponent back. After Duan Lingtian left, Duan Bing naturally couldn't sit still. After all, now, the ancestor of their Duan clan, Duan Yue, a saint in the middle of the night, is likely to be in a desperate situation. At this time, if you can find a helper, you might be able to support the other party in time. So, he immediately moved. Directly contacted the other 3 Xian Fourth Order powerhouses of the Duan clan. And when these 3 Xian Tier 4 powerhouses knew what happened to Duan Yue, their faces became very ugly. That girl Yue was discovered by the Fu family in the area of Qingyun Shengzong. Trouble. Trouble this time. One of the Duan clan powerhouses at the 4th stage of the Xian, the white-bearded old man, in terms of seniority, is also Duan Yue's elder, but he was later surpassed by Duan Yue. Cousin, she shouldn't go to the god-defying realm. If something happens to her this time, the disaster of the Duan clan will be brought about by the great worship of Duan Lingtian. He is our Duan clan. The Broom Star. Another Xian Fourth Order powerhouse, a middle-aged man, said in a deep voice. It's pointless to say that now. The last strongman of the 4th rank, a beautiful woman, said with a gloomy expression, since Sister Yue went to the anti-god realm, it means that she went there voluntarily, not forced by someone. Moreover, do you think that accompanying someone who is not even the strongest, can force her? As for what you said, it was because of the other party that she would go to the god realm and have an accident when she came back. Is it possible that you can't have an accident when you usually walk outside alone? If you happen to meet a mad sage strongman who shoots you, can you live? I believe that this matter, the big worshipper named Duan Lingtian did not expect it. Moreover, you should also know that the hatred between Sister Yue and the Fu family was forged a long time ago. But it has nothing to do with the big offering. The beautiful woman is not actually a member of the Duan clan. It was Duan Yue who met when she was traveling abroad. The two were as close as sisters. In the end, Duan Yue returned to the Duan family, and she also brought her back to the Duan family without any worries. Since then, the Duan family has added a strong foreign surname. And she is also the strongest person under Duan Yue in the Duan clan. Because of this, as soon as she opened her mouth, the middle-aged man could only shut up. Now is not the time to argue about this. At this time, what we should do is to contact the semi-sacred powerhouses who have made friends with our Duan clan, and let them go to the Qingyun Shenzong side to see if we can find that girl Yue. The eldest and highest-ranking white-bearded old man revealed the key in one sentence. And almost at the moment when the white-bearded old man's voice fell, Duan Bing, who had softened his face, suddenly changed his face. The next moment, he knelt on the ground with a puff and cried out, "Old ancestor." The three people who were standing also changed at this time. Then, the three disappeared almost at the same time. The three appeared again, already in a hall on the side of the ancestral hall of the Duan clan where the high-level soul cards were placed by the Duan clan. When they saw that the soul card standing alone in the top row in the hall was torn apart, the three of them turned pale. "Girl Yue! Sister Yue! Cousin!" The three of them cried out in grief almost at the same time. This night was undoubtedly hopeless for the senior members of the Duan clan. Because, the pillar of the Duan clan, Duan Yue, who was known as the Midnight Saint, has perished. However, the news was only circulated among the high-level members of the Duan clan, and it was not spread. Like a group of worshippers in the Duan clan, no one received the news. This also led to Duan Lingshan's big offering, and he didn't even know about it. As for why the Duan clan did this, it was nothing more than worrying about the unrest within the clan. Without the semi-sacred power in the seat of the semi-sacred powerhouse, can it still be regarded as a semi-sacred power? Of course, they also know, this news was hidden soon. Soon, the semi-sacred powerhouses who killed their Duan clan ancestors would spread the news widely to show their power and prestige. Killing a half-sage is something worth showing off. At the same time, in the Qingyun Shenzong area, over a vast wasteland, blood is pouring down, and occasionally you can hear the sound of ghosts crying and wolf howling, a brilliance that spreads for tens of thousands of miles, and a picture of the growth of all things is derived, which is lifelike. Then, the picture paused and then fell apart. A bigger rain of blood continued to pour down. This is the half-sacred death. Moreover, it is still a half-sacred who is good at the law of life. In the Qingyun Shenzong area, in many places, there are strong men rising from the sky, looking at the vision of heaven and earth in the distance, and sighing. Chapter 45:13. Bibo Tianfu Special Envoy Hu Mingyue Duan Ling Tian thought that the next morning, before departure, there might be good news. But what he didn't expect was that what he was waiting for was a bad news. The pillar of the Duan family, the Midnight Saint Duan Yue, finally died yesterday. This news, apart from the high-level surname of our Duan clan, is only known to you among the worshippers. I hope that it will not be spread in a short time. Our Duan clan, we must be prepared to meet the various consequences that the clan will suffer after the death of our ancestors. Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan, reminded Duan Ling Tian of the news. The reason why I tell you this news is because you and the ancestors have a sister-in-law relationship. You have the right to know. You don't have to blame yourself for this matter. Even if you don't return to the God realm with you, as long as they have the heart to target the ancestors, sooner or later they will find an opportunity to attack the ancestors. Follow Bibo Tianfu's messengers to the place of return to the ruins. People who perform well will be valued by Bibo Tianfu. If you can come out on top, Bibo Tianfu will probably agree to some reasonable requests from you. For the Duan clan, you don't have to worry. Our Duan clan will not fall down so easily. Even when Duan Ling Tian left with the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu, Duan Bing's last message to him was still echoing in his ears. Duan Ling Tian remained silent. At this time, he was in the artifact spaceship of the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu together with the two new worshippers that the Duan clan found. The special envoy of Bibo Tianfu, a middle-aged man in a gray-white robe, sat quietly on the side of the spaceship, keeping a distance from Duan Ling Tian and the others. Great worship, I heard that your swordsmanship has reached the 6th order level. If there is a chance, I hope you can give some pointers. Among the offerings from the two Duan clan, the young man in a green robe moved to Duan Lingshan's side and sat down, and greeted Duan Ling Tian warmly. Okay. Duan Lingtian heard the sound, his thoughts were interrupted, he glanced at the green-robed youth in front of him, and nodded. Then I won't disturb the big worship to you. I don't know if you know my name. My name is Shuai. The green-robed youth Shuai naturally saw that he had disturbed this man, and with an apologetic smile, he also retreated. There is no dissatisfaction. After all, it was you who disturbed the other party. Moreover, the strength of this great worshipper, although he has never heard of the Duan clan that he joined later, he has heard people mention it. It is said that it has the strength close to the invincible upper god. And this kind of existence, even in the power of the saints like Bibo Tianfu, there are only a few people. It's an absolute genius monster. Although he is considered a genius, he is obviously not on the same level compared to the other party. Another enshrined by the Duan clan was a middle-aged man in a black robe. When sitting cross-legged, there was a sword on his leg. This sword, not even a powerful artifact, is just an ordinary artifact, quietly relying on it. However, if you look closely, you can see, around this sword, there was a faint divine power flowing. Obviously the middle-aged black robe did it on purpose. Lan Ming worships. The green-robed youth Shuai was obviously more familiar with the black-robed middle-aged man. As soon as he spoke, he said in a familiar tone, "What are you doing?" "I remember, the last time I discussed with you, the weapon you used was a supreme sword, not this ordinary sword." As Shuai asked, the middle-aged black-robed man known as Lan Ming Enshrined also opened his eyes, looked at Shuai and said, "Shuai Enshrined, this is what I used before I got the supreme divine sword. The longest sword ever. This sword is also the sword that I got when I was weak, when I got the inheritance of a sword cultivator. It can be said to be my enlightenment teacher. Although, my current swordsmanship has surpassed that senior swordsman, but, my swordsmanship started with this sword, and the inspiration behind my swordsmanship promotion also came from this sword, so I understand the swordsmanship. When the time comes, I will take out this sword and carefully observe every corner of its blade. However, the kendo insight it can bring me has become less and less. Perhaps it won't be long before it will return to my ring space and fall into ashes. Of course, falling ashes is just a metaphor. In the Neji space, because it is in a completely sealed state, there is not even a shred of dust. Can it still be like this? Shuai was surprised. It seems that everyone's way of comprehending kendo is different. I comprehend kendo, and more relying on imagination. Of course, my foundation also comes from my elders. Shuai said later. He smiled, "Just like Lan Ming enshrined you, your swordsmanship surpassed that of the senior swordsman who left you with this sword, and my current swordsmanship also surpassed that of my elder. You and I are now better than blue." Having said that, he looked at Duan Lingtian, who was sitting not far away, and said softly, "I'm afraid that the swordsman who is enshrined in a big way is even more brilliant." When Lan Ming heard the words, he nodded in agreement. The swordsmanship of the Great Consecration has reached the level of the Sixth Order, and it must be better than the blue. The conversation between the two was not loud, but Duan Lingtian could still hear it. Listening to their conversation, involving the master he most respects, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but listen and say nothing, and opened his eyes for a while, looked at the two and said, "You are wrong. My swordsmanship has not yet reached the point where the blue is better than the blue. My master's swordsmanship is at least the 7th rank now." As soon as Duan Lingtian said these words, both Shuai and Lan Ming were startled, and then their faces showed disbelief. Even the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu, who was sitting in the distance and did not move for a long time, opened his eyes at this time, and dodged in front of Duan Lingtian. "Lingtian worship, are you serious?" In the face of this Bibo Tianfu envoy's question, Duan Lingtian nodded. "I don't need to tell lies. In my kendo, it is estimated that it was only at the 4th rank. The kendo that my master mastered at that time was no weaker than the kendo that I master now. Duan Lingtian has always admired the gentleness of the master. In terms of cultivation, he surpassed his master before because of repeated encounters. However, in terms of kendo, he has always been left behind. Every time I meet, I think my swordsmanship can be closer to my master, but I didn't expect that it would be farther away again and again. As far as I know, there are only 2 saints who have comprehended the 7th stage of kendo. Is your master one of those 2? When the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu said this, his tone became a lot more polite. Of course, he added in his heart, if it weren't for those 2, then it must be a hidden saint and strong man. No. In the face of the envoy of Bibo Tianfu, Duan Lingtian shook his head. And hearing Duan Lingshan's answer, the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu also confirmed his guess. Ling Tian worship, this trip to the ruins, as long as your harvest can satisfy our Bibo Tianfu will never treat you badly. The Bibo Tianfu special envoy's attitude towards Duan Lingtian has obviously become a lot more friendly. Thank you for the reminder, I will do my best. Duan Lingtian continued speaking. You don't need to call me from the special envoy. My name is Hu Mingyue. You can just call me Brother Hu. Maybe, it won't be long before you will enter our Bibo Tianfu and become your own. Hu Mingyue laughed. This was also the first time that Hu Mingyue took the initiative to reveal his name in front of Duan Lingtian and the others. Before that, the 3 only knew that this was the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu. Others, I don't know at all. This time, Duan Lingtian left the Duan clan, and he did not bring Tan Xiodong with him as he returned to the God realm 2 days ago, leaving Tan Xiodong to stay with the Duan clan. In the future, if he enters Bibo Tianfu, he plans to ask Tan Xiodong to go there. Of course, he also told Tan Xiodong. Tan Xiodong, if he wants to leave, he can leave at any time, and he can revoke the blood oath that day. However, Tan Xiodong expressed his willingness to continue to follow Duan Lingtian. Following Duan Lingshan's days, Tan Xiodong also tasted a lot of sweetness. Although he was just a sidekick by Duan Lingshan's side, whether it was this way or the Duan clan, because of Duan Lingshan's relationship, he gained a lot of benefits that he never dared to think about in the past. With his little strength, wanting to obtain those things on his own is a fool's errand. But now, it is within reach. Chapter 45-14. Hu Mingyue, the special envoy of Bibo Tianfu, heard from Duan Lingtian that the swordsmanship mastered by his master has reached at least the 7th level. I only thought that Duan Lingshan's master was a strong saint. Therefore, on the next journey, he was very polite and enthusiastic to Duan Lingtian. The other 2 were a little jealous, but they also knew that they and Duan Lingtian, the great sacrifice of the Duan clan, were incomparable in any respect. Now, they also think that the master in Duan Lingshan's mouth should be a powerful hidden world powerhouse. Moreover, it is the strongest who has understood the 7th order kendo. Even if the superpowers who are good at the law have not yet comprehended the realm of great perfection, they are definitely invincible characters among the semi-sages. Sister Wei, just leave like this. Even now, Duan Lingtian still hasn't recovered from the news of Duan Yuwei's death. In his mind, the figure in front of Duan Yuwei is all. Although, Duan Bing, the patriarch of the Duan clan, advised him not to blame himself. But can he not blame himself? After all, what happened to Duan Yuwei on the way back to the God realm with him? If you don't go back with me, Sister Wei will be fine. Duan Lingshan's heart was full of guilt. At the same time, in the eyes, the flame of hatred is also burning. Sister Wei, don't worry. If I have enough strength in the future, I will definitely take revenge for you. Duan Lingtian thought silently in his heart. Certainly. Guilt is guilt. Duan Lingtian himself knows that he can't be buried in guilt all the time, he still has a lot of things to do. Don't say anything else, just say revenge for Duan Yuwei. if he does not have enough strength, it is impossible to achieve. This trip to the ruins of Bibo Tianfu is my chance. As long as it shows its value in front of the powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu, not only can Kir's soul be imprisoned, but I can also get the resources of Bibo Tianfu. Bibo Tianfu is a sage power, and its resources are tilted, which ordinary people can't imagine. Like his hometown, the anti-god realm, the background of the entire realm combined, I am afraid it may not be comparable to the Bibo Tianfu. In Bibo Tianfu, it is said that there are two saints in the contemporary era. In Lei Xingjing, it is an absolute hegemonic force. After rushing for a few days, Duan Lingtian, Shui Ao, and Lan Ming were also taken by Hu Mingyue outside the residence of Bibo Tianfu. Just on the periphery. As for the resident of Bibo Tianfu, it is impossible to see at all, and it is full of fog. And at this moment, outside the fog ahead, a lot of people have gathered, obviously like Duan Lingtian and the three of them, the kendo geniuses collected by Bibo Tianfu from all over the place. The return to the ruins opened by our Bibo Tianfu opened a year ago. The three of you are the second batch of kendo geniuses from the three semi-holy forces in the Tourmaline Holy City. Hu Mingyue said to Duan Lingtian and the others. The Tourmaline Holy City also has a kendo genius collected by semi-holy forces, who will set off in a year and come here. This time, 3 groups of people will enter the land of return to the ruins. This is also our past practice in Bibo Tianfu. Hu Mingyue said. 3 groups of people? Shui Ao wondered, why are there 3 groups of people? Duan Lingtian and Lan Ming also looked at Hu Mingyue at this time, and they were also curious about it. A group of people go in together, okay? No wonder the envoy only brought the 3 of us here. Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. After a period of time, he discovered that Hu Mingyue only brought 3 of them, kendo geniuses from the Duan clan, to Bibo Tianfu. At that time, he was a little puzzled. In the Tourmaline Holy City, it seems that not only the Duan clan is a semi-holy force, right? The other 2 semi-holy forces must have also received an invitation from Bibo Tianfu. Could it be that they haven't found a genius powerhouse of the 4th rank of kendo? This is obviously unlikely. After all, on the Duan clan side, even though they were cramming for a while, they found 2 people. As for Duan Lingtian, he sent it to the door himself, not counting the efforts of the Duan clan to find it. Facing Shuao's question, Hu Mingyue said with a heavy expression, because, many years ago, on our side of Bibo Tianfu, we found a place of return to the ruins. That place of return to the ruins is also forbidden to those above the strongest to enter. At that time, we gathered a group of people who met the conditions and asked them to enter the land of return to the ruins to hunt for treasure. And as a result, the entire army was wiped out. Because of this, after that, whenever our Bibo Tianfu finds the place of return to the ruins, if we send people in, we will enter in 3 batches. This time, wait for the first group of people to come out before you go in. The time given to them is 1 year. Hu Mingyue said, what? Shuao's face was shocked. The first batch of people, after 1 year, will we enter? Isn't all the good things in there already collected by them? They eat meat in the front, and we are in the back. I'm afraid we won't even be able to eat meat residue, right? Shuao's words were also recognized by Duan Lingtian and Lan Ming. They naturally thought so. It's also possible. Hu Mingyue nodded, but, why don't you think about it? If there is really danger inside, it can wipe out the entire army of those who go in. Isn't it a blessing that you didn't go in? They go first, and the opportunity is relatively large, but at the same time as the opportunity is large, it also corresponds to the corresponding big risk. As soon as Hu Mingyue said these words, Shui Ao fell silent. Indeed, this is true. According to the agreement, they will come out the day after tomorrow. Later, after we are all together, we will go to the entrance of the return to the ruins. Hu Mingyue continued. What if someone doesn't come out? Shuai asked. Don't come out? Hu Mingyue smiled, then after he comes out, he will surely die. If Bibo Tianfu is concerned, not everyone can disobey at will. What if it's the genius of Bibo Tianfu? Shuai asked again. Could it be that Bibo Tianfu killed even his own people? Just because it didn't come out in time? Among the first batch of people, there is no genius from our Bibo Tianfu. Shuai said lightly, our Bibo Tianfu genius will enter the third batch, which is the last batch. Therefore, the possibility you mentioned is not possible. Bibo Tianfu is prudent enough, and his own genius should enter last. Naturally, Shuai didn't dare to say these words indiscriminately. He said it to Duan Lingtian and Lan Ming through sound transmission. Actually, that's normal. Lan Ming's voice transmission said to Duan Lingtian and Shuai, anyway, before we go in, we must leave our own ring outside. So, Bibo Tianfu, we are not afraid that we will embezzle what they want. Since we get what they want, we will definitely hand over it, so why should they let their own geniuses take the lead and take risks? Lan Ming's words can be said to hit the nail on the head. 3 groups of people, each group of people for a year. It seems that this return to the ruins can only exist for 3 years. Shuai said. Good. Hu Mingyue nodded. Before our Bibo Tianfu opened the return to the ruins, we made a judgment that the place of return to the ruins can exist for about 3 years. So, in the second year, you should cherish it. Someone is at the front, accumulating experience for you, and you can get twice the result with half the effort when you enter the second batch. Chapter 45-15. Duan Lingtian, Lan Ming and Shuai waited with Hu Mingyue until the next day, when they finally arrived. After everyone arrived, they all got on the same artifact spaceship and went to the entrance to the ruins. Duan Lingtian glanced around. In addition to the people from Bibo Tianfu, this time, they collected kendo geniuses from all over the country to explore the return to the ruins. This second batch, including him, Lan Ming, and Shuai actually had 36 people. It seems that this time, Bibo Tianfu has found hundreds of kendo geniuses and went to explore the return to the ruins in 3 batches. While Duan Lingtian was observing the surroundings, Shuai and Lan Ming, as well as other kendo geniuses, were also looking around. These kendo geniuses are either sitting on one side alone or in groups of 3 or 5. Everyone's face has a bit of pride. Even Lan Ming and Shuai, although they were very low-key in front of Duan Lingtian, were limited to Duan Lingtian. When others looked at them, they were indifferent and could hardly hide their arrogance. This time, when I went to the place where the return to the ruins was located, many of the powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu who brought people over did not go there together. Only 3 people remained. Hu Mingyue, who brought Duan Lingtian and the 3, was one of the 3. At this time, the 3 were chatting in front of the artifact spaceship. Old Shui, I heard that one of the geniuses you brought in this time has realized the existence of the 6th order swordsmanship. An old man with a white beard supported the long beard on his chin, squinted his eyes, and asked Hu Mingyue. When Hu Mingyue heard this, he smiled and said, yes, it is the great worship of the Duan clan in the holy city of Tourmaline, named Duan Lingtian. The kendo comprehends the 6th level, and the law of space also comprehends the realm of small perfection. Invincible superior under the gods, there should be no one who can defeat him alone. Not even the 3 of our Bibo Tianfu? Another young man in a blue robe asked in surprise. Hu Mingyue shook his head, probably not. That Duan Lingshan's strength, this time I have also asked clearly in the Duan clan, and it is indeed very strong. Of course, it's up to him to know how strong it is. This time, if he does well in the land of return to ruins, I plan to recommend him to the palace. Hu Mingyue said. If such a genius is willing to enter our Bibo Tianfu, we will not refuse even if his performance is average in the land of returning ruins. The white-bearded old man laughed. He wants to come in by himself, which is different from our invitation. Hu Mingyue said with a smile, we invite, we must promise something. And he wants to enter, naturally he can't take the initiative to make conditions with us, right? So, I think it's impossible for him to take the initiative to come to our Bibo Tianfu, and he will definitely wait for us to invite him. What Hu Mingyue said was actually what Duan Ling Tian thought. To be precise, it was mid-Saint Yu Yi Duan Yue who reminded him to do this before. You want to ask to enter the Bibo Tianfu, and Bibo Tianfu actively invites them, which are completely two concepts. According to Duan Yui's words, her younger brother's talent is so enchanting, unless the people at Bibo Tianfu are blind, they will definitely invite her younger brother to join him. It was also because of Duan Yui's reminder that Duan Ling Tian knew the importance of holding the shelf in front of Bibo Tianfu. Otherwise, not to mention anything else, in order to release Kir's soul imprisonment, he would not mind taking the initiative to make a request to Bibo Tianfu to join Bibo Tianfu. Just about 2 hours later, the artifact spacecraft stopped. And Duan Ling Tian and others also followed Hu Mingyue and other 3 powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu, and got off the magical spaceship. At this time, they discovered that they appeared in a vast barren mountain. Moreover, when they came out, there were already many people waiting here. About a dozen people. Those people are all strong men from Bibo Tianfu. The young man wearing a white robe with a silver border is obviously the highest. Beside Duan Ling Tian, Shui Ao looked at a figure in the distance and said softly. Duan Ling Tian heard the words and looked over. However, they saw that Hu Mingyue and the other 3 who brought them out all stepped forward at this time, saluted the young man in a white robe with a silver border, and called out, Master Hall Master. Lan Ming, what kind of strength do you think this person is? Shui Ao asked Lan Ming. When Lan Ming heard the words, a gleam of light flashed in his eyes, and then he said in a deep voice, at least it's a semi-holy. It does have some eyesight. Suddenly, a voice came, and a young man in a brocade clothes came over. Duan Ling Tian had an impression of this person, a kendo genius who came over in a spaceship with them. This person had previously sat alone and closed his eyes to rest in peace. Really half-holy? Shui Ao looked at the young man in genie and asked in surprise, you don't know him, do you? The young man in genie smiled when he heard the words, I'm not qualified to know him. However, I did meet him, and it was many years ago, when I was still young. His name is Xiao Tianxi, he is the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu, a semi-saint powerhouse, and is also recognized as the next saint of Bibo Tianfu. The young man in brocade said respectfully. Xiao Tianxi, Lord of the Golden Dragon Palace. Hearing the words of the young man in genie, Duan Ling Tian also remembered the name. I just don't know. How does this person's strength compare to Sister Wei? Duan Ling Tian said secretly. However, after thinking about Duan Yue for a moment, his face darkened again, and the original living person disappeared in a blink of an eye. Moreover, after trying to find a way out for him, he was killed. It is conceivable that if Duan Yue hadn't put him down at that time, he would have been killed together with Duan Yue. He didn't think that the 3 semi-sacred powerhouses who killed Duan Yue would be merciful to him. He is Xiao Tianxi. And Lan Ming, at this time, was horrified while suppressing his voice. Lan Ming, do you know the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu? Shui Ao looked surprised. Duan Ling Tian also looked at Lan Ming. But Lan Ming said with a solemn expression at this time, I heard an elder mention him. Said that he is an unparalleled genius and evildoer. In the past, after stepping into the realm of the strongest, whenever you enter a new realm, you will challenge the realm outside the realm, and even fellow practitioners from all over the world are people in the realm. In the process of Xian First Order to Third Order, he was finally recognized as invincible at the same order. Until he stepped into the 4th level Xian, he was just about to challenge the 4th level Xian strong in the 4 directions, but he was not successful in his apprenticeship and was defeated by a monster who was also the 4th level Xian. And that evildoer also stepped on the name of defeating him, and became famous outside the world, and even in the world. That enchanting monster has faced the challenges of many Xian 4th order powerhouses, but these people were all defeated by him without exception. In the end, this person is recognized as the first person under the semi-sacred place, and even the 10,000 worlds. Xiao Tianxi's limelight was completely covered by him. When Lan Ming said this, he couldn't help but take a deep breath. The person you said. At this time, the young man in genie next to him raised his brows. Is that the powerhouse of the god-defying realm Xiao Mubai, one of the 18 realms of the 10,000 realms? Xiao Mubai. This was also the first time Duan Lingtian had heard someone mention the names of people from the god-defying realm other than Time Sword in a place outside the world. For a time, his heart couldn't help but get a little excited. After all, whether it is the Sword of Time or Xiao Mubai, they are the seniors of his hometown, the god-defying realm. At this moment, he has a sense of hometown pride. He is also a person from the god-defying realm. Chapter 45:16. Duan Lingtian looked at the Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu. The same surname as Xiao Mubai, the world master of the god-defying realm, is also a genius. Before their god-defying realm made a big splash with the help of Xiao Mubai, he was famous in places beyond the world, and even in all realms. Until the 4th rank of Xian, he was defeated by Xiao Mubai. Of course, even if Xiao Tianxi was defeated by Xiao Mubai, Duan Lingtian didn't feel that this Xiao Tianxi was really weak, it was only weaker than Xiao Mubai. And, certainly not much difference. Hall Master Xiao is here. Suddenly, Shuaiao's reminder came from Duan Lingshan's ear. At this time, Duan Lingkai discovered that, surrounded by Hu Mingyue, he was coming towards them from the sky, and he was in front of them in a blink of an eye. Duan Lingtian, this is the master of our Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace, the master of Xiao Tianxi. At this time, Hu Mingyue looked at Duan Lingtian and said loudly, Dianzhu Xiao is here to meet you, a genius who has mastered the 6th order swordsmanship. 6th order kendo. Hu Mingyue's voice was so small that many people around him could hear it. For a time, a group of eyes gathered on Duan Lingshan's body from all directions, and their eyes were full of disbelief and shock. 6th order kendo? Moreover, is it still in existence under a supreme power? Real or fake? Of course, this question only exists in the blink of an eye. Since the top powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu have said so, then 9 times out of 10 this matter is true, because there is a high probability that the superpowers of Bibo Tianfu will not open their mouths. Duan Lingtian, I have seen Hall Master Xiao. Duan Lingtian bowed slightly to salute Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace in front of him. And Shuaiao and other people standing beside him also bowed and saluted. Let me see your swordsmanship, how about you? Xiao Tianxi looked at Duan Lingtian, and with a slight smile, pointed it out. In an instant, a stream of light pierced through the sky and swept away straight towards Duan Lingtian. In an instant, Duan Lingtian could also feel that the impact contained in this stream of light was definitely enough to compare with his current full-strength strike. This is definitely the top offensive under the invincible upper god. He knew that Xiao Tianxi wanted to try him, but he didn't expect that Xiao Tianxi's control of power would reach such a superb level. Taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian did not hesitate, and immediately rose from the sky, carrying that stream of light into the sky. Then, the 7 orifices and exquisite swords came out from his hand. The space law of the small perfection realm was integrated into the divine power, and together with his swordsmanship, he met the streamer offensive pointed out by Xiao Tianxi. Call out. Duan Lingshan's sword, the colorful rays of light condensed, met the streamer, and instantly stalemate together. And then, in front of everyone's eyes, the two forces collided together, and a terrifying force suddenly erupted, and it was about to recoil at the nearest Duan Lingtian. Whoa! I saw Xiao Tianxi lifted up, invisible, as if there was a huge force falling from the sky, crushing the recoil force that was about to rush towards Duan Lingtian, enough to cause Duan Lingtian to be slightly injured. Thank you, Hall Master. Duan Lingtian repeatedly thanked him. Good. Xiao Tianxi, however, nodded to Duan Lingtian, and then said, after this trip to the ruins, can you be interested in entering the Bibo Tianfu and my Golden Dragon Palace? Xiao Tianxi sent an invitation to Duan Lingtian. And this invitation also shocked everyone around him. Even Hu Mingyue never expected that the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu would take the initiative to invite a young man to join Bibo Tianfu. You must know that in the past, this one has only actively invited two invincible high-ranking gods to enter the Bibo Tianfu and the Golden Dragon Palace. Except for those 2 times, no one was invited again. In the eyes of the Hall Master, can this Ling Tian be compared to the invincible superior god? Now, not only Hu Mingyue was shocked, but the senior officials of Bibo Tianfu, who were familiar with Xiao Tianxi, were also shocked. For a time, more eyes were focused on Duan Lingtian. The kendo geniuses present all looked at Duan Lingtian with envy and hatred. Listening to what the master of the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu, the first person under the sage of Bibo Tianfu, said that if Duan Lingtian entered Bibo Tianfu and the Golden Dragon Hall, he would probably immediately become his confidant. Duan Lingtian is honored. Duan Lingtian responded quickly. Bibo Tianfu's strongest semi-sage invited him, what reason did he have to refuse? With the strength of this person, in Bibo Tianfu, it can be said that there is an existence under the saint and above 10,000 people. It is good. A smile appeared on Xiao Tianxi's face. From today onwards, you are the person of the Golden Dragon Palace that I Xiao Tianxi had. I, Xiao Tianxi, the Palace Master of the Golden Dragon Palace, give you the name, the Void Sword. Are you still satisfied? Xiao Tianxi asked with a smile. Void Sword. Name. Although the name is not something valuable, the name given by Xiao Tian has a completely different meaning. How much should Xiao Tianxi pay attention to before being given the title by Xiao Tianxi himself? Is it a direct disciple, nothing more than this? Thank you, Hall Master. Duan Lingtian repeatedly thanked him. Although he had no feelings for the name, since the Golden Dragon Palace Master gave such face, he naturally couldn't refute the other party's good intentions. And, it's also good for him. At least, when he entered Bibo Tianfu, his road in Bibo Tianfu would be much easier to walk. Having a backer and not having a backer are two completely different concepts. The Void Sword Duan Lingtian, I didn't know that before. Hall Master Xiao is so good at taking names. Hu Mingyue laughed, and in his words, he was not stingy about flattering Xiao Tianxi. Duan Lingtian, you don't need to go in the second batch, the third batch is here, you can go in together. Xiao Tianxi said to Duan Lingtian. Yes. Duan Lingtian responded quickly. As for Lan Ming and Shui Ao, who had come with Duan Lingtian before, when they looked at Duan Lingtian again, there was nothing but envy in their eyes. You all came from the Duan clan at one time. You have become Bibo Tianfu's strongest half-sage confidant, but we are still the little transparent. Xiao Tianxi let Duan Lingtian enter the last batch again, and gave him the treatment of the kendo genius who entered the ruins at Bibo Tianfu this time. Brother Hu. Duan Lingtian sent a voice transmission to Hu Mingyue, who was standing behind Xiao Tianxi. He couldn't help but ask curiously, what is the rule that Hall Master Xiao is best at? And Hu Mingyue quickly gave him a response, Jianzhu Xiao is best at the law of death, and he has already entered the realm of great perfection. Secondly, the law of life, which is also close to the great perfection. The only thing missing is the 4 worlds. Palace Master Xiao is also good at swordsmanship. He is currently in the 5th rank. As long as he enters the 6th rank, he can be promoted to breakthrough and become a saint. As soon as Hu Mingyue said these words, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. It turned out that Xiao Tianci was also good at the law of life. It seems that this hall master Xiao Tianci has already seen that I am not young. One of the 4 ways of heaven and earth that he masters, is also the way of swordsmanship. Maybe it is also related to this? After all, geniuses are generally unconvincing, but they will still give some respect to those who can surpass themselves in a certain field. At this moment, Duan Lingtian also found the reason for Xiao Tianxi's attention. After a moment, Duan Lingtian came to Xiao Tianxi's side. Then, looking at the figures one after another, they came out of the land of return to the ruins. Soon, the first group of people, as long as they were still alive, came out. Palace Master Xiao, the statistics have been made, the first batch of people who entered, lost 12 people. Soon, there was a powerhouse from Bibo Tianfu, who came to report to Xiao Tianci after finishing the statistics. Okay. Xiao Tianxi's reaction was calm, as if he was not surprised at all. As for Duan Lingtian, deep in his heart at this moment, there were waves of stormy waves. He knew that based on the number of people in the second batch, the first batch of people must be between 30 and 40 people. 12 people died. Almost a third of it was lost. The death rate is too high. At the same time, the expressions of the second batch of kendo geniuses also changed after hearing the loss rate. Chapter 45:17, Such a high loss rate. Many kendo geniuses have the intention of retreating after hearing about the loss rate. However, when a few people proposed to withdraw, the one who responded to them was the extremely cold gaze of the most powerful person in Bibo Tianfu. As if telling them, if you dare to quit now, there is only one dead end. Humph. A kendo genius snorted coldly, what are you afraid of? Wealth and wealth are in danger, which one is not in danger? If you are even afraid of this kind of danger, you are not worthy of being strong. The land of return to the ruins is indeed dangerous. However, there are not many places to return to the ruins with such a high loss rate. However, as this kendo genius opened his mouth, all those kendo geniuses who had the intention of retreating suddenly looked remorseful. They never thought that they would be greedy for life and fear of death in front of a place with many opportunities to return to the ruins. They have been able to get to this day, and they have gone through countless difficulties, and they have also experienced many scenes of life and death. Are they really afraid of death? Not necessarily. It can be said that the words of this kendo genius woke them up. This person, kendo, is at the 5th level. When Duan Lingtian looked at the kendo genius who was speaking, not far from him, the voice transmission of Xiao Tianci, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace of Bibo Tianfu, also entered his ears in a timely manner. However, he is much older than you. Among the kendo geniuses present, apart from you, he should be the strongest. Hearing Xiao Tianxi's words, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but glance at the other party. However, I saw that this was a young man in a black robe, with an ordinary appearance and an angry eyebrow, giving people a feeling of not being angry and self-proud, standing there, standing straight, like a sharp sword. Okay? Suddenly, Duan Lingtian found that the other party seemed to sense that he was looking at him, and also looked at him, and there was obviously a strong fighting intent in his eyes. Facing the fighting intent in the opponent's eyes, Duan Lingtian just looked at him, nodded lightly and smiled. Then, he looked back. This man, wouldn't he think he was provoking? Soon, the last time for the first group of people to come out has arrived. Those who came out alive handed in their vows. Then, there is the supreme power of Bibo Tianfu to take them away. The people who took them away were the 3 superpowers who brought them here before, and while taking them away, they said, this time I will take you to Bibo Tianfu, if you get what we want in Bibo Tianfu, you can do it all. Select some corresponding treasures in our Bibo Tianfu. If you don't get what we want from Bibo Tianfu, everything you gain from this trip will belong to you. Soon, the first group of people who came out alive followed the powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu to leave. And half a day passed. Following the indifferent voice of the master of the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu, Xiao Tianxi, go in. Immediately, under the guidance of Hu Mingyue and other 3 Bibo Tianfu supreme powerhouses, a group of kendo geniuses, including Lan Ming and Shui Ao who came with Duan Ling Tian, entered the place of return to the ruins together. Duan Ling Tian, I really envy you, being valued by Hall Master Xiao. After I come out this time, if I have a chance to enter the Bibo Tianfu, you have to cover me. Before Shui Ao went in, when he transmitted the voice to Duan Ling Tian, his tone was a little more flattering and flattering. After the sound transmission, he followed the others into the place of return to the ruins. For a time, there were only 6 people left outside. The 3 Bibo Tianfu supreme powerhouses who brought Duan Ling Tian and the other second group over. Duan Ling Tian. There was also Xiao Tianxi, and the grey-robed old man behind Xiao Tianxi who had never spoken. The grey-robed old man, following behind Xiao Tianxi, was like a shadow, following him like a shadow. His face was calm, and there was no turbulence from beginning to end. Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but wonder if this person was paralyzed. You 3, wait outside. Following Xiao Tianxi's words, he raised his hand, took Duan Ling Tian, and left with the old man behind him. Duan Ling Tian has not recovered yet. When he opened his eyes again, he found that he had come to a vast and boundless world. This piece of heaven and earth is boundless, and at a glance, it seems that there is no end in sight. And just when Duan Ling Tian wondered where he had been brought, Xiao Tianxi's voice had entered his ears in a timely manner. This is the small world inside my body. Elder Kong, he is also good at space law. His space law, many years ago, stepped into the realm of great perfection. Before the third group of people enter the land of returning ruins, you will be here and practice the laws of space with Lao Lao. In your spare time, you can also show your kendo and show me how. My kendo is only half a step away from the 6th rank, but this half step has not advanced for many years. After Xiao Tianxi said these words, Duan Ling Tian also knew what the other party meant. The other party wants to observe his kendo. Of course, it won't let him suffer. The other party also arranged for a strong man who mastered the laws of space in the realm of great perfection to instruct him on the laws of space. Call. As if a gust of wind blew, followed closely, an aged figure appeared in front of Duan Ling Tian. At this time, Duan Ling Tian also recognized the other party. Isn't that the old man in grey robe who stood behind Xiao Tianxi earlier? At that time, he also felt that the other party was like a facial paralysis. He is a superpower who has mastered the spatial laws of the great perfection? Duan Ling Tian secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. The most powerful person who has mastered the laws of space in the realm of great perfection, even if his attainment in the 4 realms of heaven and earth is very general, and he has not even stepped into the 4th rank, he is at least the existence of the 4th rank of the strongest. The 4th order Xian is also close to the semi-holy existence. Go all out. Use your swordsmanship to match your space laws. The grey-robed old man opened his mouth, but his expression didn't change when he spoke, making people look like that paralyzed face. I will try my best to control my strength to a level similar to yours. Of course, I won't keep it when it comes to displaying the laws of space. Hearing the other party's words, Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but feel excited. He knows. This is definitely a great opportunity for him. Although, in his hands, there is no shortage of floating shadow mirrors that have realized the existence of the law of space to the realm of great perfection, but after all, it is a floating shadow mirror, which can only be observed and cannot be experienced in person. And now, a living powerhouse who has comprehended the laws of space to the realm of great perfection, stands in front of him, and wants to give him pointers. This is undoubtedly a pointer to get twice the result with half the effort. The help of the floating shadow mirror to him is insignificant in the face of this kind of guidance. Thank you, Senior. Duan Ling Tian looked solemn, and bowed respectfully to the gray-robed old man. For him, this is a great blessing. Even though he knew that this was a deal, the transaction between him and the Golden Dragon Hall Master Xiao Tianxi exchanged his kendo perception for the perception of the laws of space. However, he knew that this was his advantage. He believed that, as Xiao Tianxi, it was not so difficult to observe the sixth-order swordsmanship of others. Even a strong sage might give him some face and betray others. And he Duan Ling Tian, wanting to comprehend the laws of space to the existence of the great perfection realm, and pointing him while fighting with him, is undoubtedly more difficult than going to the sky. Now, such an opportunity is in front of him. How could he not be excited? This is a surefire deal. My law of space has not advanced for a long time. This time, it may be an opportunity. Only by going a step further can we continue to move towards the realm of great perfection. He now has mastered the Sword Tao of the four ways of heaven and earth, and has comprehended the sixth-order level. As long as he comprehends the laws of space to the state of perfection, he will become the leader of the invincible superior gods in one fell swoop. If you break through and become the strongest, he is directly a saint who is stronger than the current Xiao Tianxi. Xiao Tianxi, as a leader among the semi-sages, while comprehending the law of death to the realm of great perfection, the level of the kendo of the four ways of heaven and earth is still at the fifth level. As long as his swordsmanship reaches the sixth rank, he has taken the most crucial step and can be directly promoted to become a saint powerhouse. Chapter 45:18. The old man Xiao Tianxi, called Empty Old Man, quickly moved. As soon as he made his move, the surrounding space shook, as if he had turned into a space, leaping from one end of the space to the other, appearing when Duan Ling Tian. It's not teleportation, but it's comparable to teleportation. So strong. This is the space law of the great perfection. Duan Ling Tian trembled in his heart, and at the same time subconsciously wanted a teleport to leave the place, but he didn't do it, because he knew that Kong Lao must have disturbed the space and made him unable to teleport. Call out. Without any hesitation, the divine power on Duan Lingshan's body rose, and the laws of space converged, condensing a dazzling sword light, turning into a human sword, turning around and beheading Kong Lao. When this sword was swung, the world seemed to change color, and the sword glow that covered the sky seemed to be able to crush everything in the world. What a powerful swordsmanship! Kong Lao exclaimed. I saw that he faced Duan Lingshan's strike that was like a combination of human and sword, and the figure continued to become illusory on the face, making Duan Lingshan's sword completely empty. However, Old Kong was still constantly approaching Duan Ling Tian while his figure changed. This also made Duan Ling Tian feel the pressure. The space law of the great perfection is indeed very strong. Now, this veteran Kong's own supreme divine power has been suppressed to a level comparable to that of the superior gods. But, with the space law of the great perfection, even if he does not use any of the four worlds, his strength is still better than mine. His current strength should be comparable to that of the invincible upper god. In an instant, Duan Ling Tian already had enough pressure. At the same time, I couldn't help but curse in my heart, this old guy, didn't he mean to control his strength to be similar to mine? This is clearly comparable to the strength of the invincible upper god Venerable. It's almost called. Although his current strength is not far from the invincible superior god Venerable, as long as the laws of space and kendo do not break through, he will not be able to reach that realm in one day. Call out. The sword Qi is vertical and horizontal, and Duan Ling Tian comes with a sword that turns around. The sword light is dazzling, as if it can tear apart all spaces and destroy all falsehoods in the void. In addition, Duan Lingshan's figure suddenly arched and exerted force at this time, almost unreservedly. In addition to useless weapons, completely unreserved shot. Humph! With a cold snort in his heart, Duan Lingtian turned his body into a sword, caught up with Lao Lao in a blink of an eye, and pierced his body. However, when this sword hole passed through, he found out that this was not Kong Lao's true body at all. The state of the great perfection of the law of space represents the complete mastery of the mystery of the law of space. As long as I can use the power of the surrounding space, in this space, I will be an invincible existence. Kong Lao's voice seemed to come from all directions. Your strength is very strong. If I don't control my divine power to a level comparable to that of the upper gods, I can't be your opponent. Now, I will keep my strength at the level of the invincible superior god, so that I can be sure not to be defeated by you. Kong Lao said the reason why he did not continue to push down the strength. No way. His heaven and earth are not strong. If he further suppresses divine power, even if he uses all the means, it is impossible to comprehend the laws of space to the realm of small perfection, and master the sixth layer of Kendo Duan Lingshan's opponent. Unless, your divine power is enough to suppress my divine power, so that I have no time to use the power of the surrounding space. Kong Lao, in a word, also said the powerful reason for the invincible superior god. This is also the reason why the invincible upper gods are invincible under the strongest, but even the weakest and the strongest can defeat them. Power suppression. Both are high-ranking gods, everyone's divine power is at the same level. How can we talk about who suppresses whom? Kong Lao shot again. Boom! Boom! Above Duan Lingshan's head, Kong Lao's figure appeared, and a palm shot out, as if covering the sky and sun. The closer to Duan Lingtian, the larger the palm print. It's like rising against the wind. Humph! Duan Lingtian let out a low snort and wanted to dodge away. But he found that no matter how he escaped, a huge palm print would appear above his head, rising in the wind. It seems that if you don't shoot him to death, you will not let go of the palm prints. Let him have nowhere to run. Then touch it. After discovering that he could not escape the shrouded range of the palm print, Duan Lingtian was also ruthless. His whole body was shaking with divine power, and the power of the law was displayed, condensing into a sword in his hand. The sword came out, the situation was turbulent, and the palm print fell from the sky. Call out. Boom! The swords and palms slammed into each other, and the terrifying power shock caused Duan Lingtian to feel an unprecedented pressure, as if his internal organs were violently shaken. His throat was even sweeter, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The old man is merciful. Just when Xiao Tianxi sent a voice transmission to Lao Lao and asked him to show mercy, Lao Lao stopped his hand. I saw that Duan Lingtian, who had just spit out a mouthful of blood in the void, with a pale face, his eyes that were a little dazed, suddenly gathered together. Then, facing the palm print above the void, that had not collapsed and continued to press down, he murmured, "So it is. It's no wonder that my kendo is difficult to go further." Sword, not only the sword in the hand is a sword, nor is the sword that condenses divine power a sword. The power of space can be a sword. The law of space can also be a sword. The law of time is also a sword. The law of life is also a sword. While Duan Lingtian murmured in a low voice, around his body, a law clone suddenly appeared. There are those entangled with the power of space, the power of time covering the body, and the power of life shrouded. Suddenly, Duan Lingshan's deity, and the surroundings of these law clones, suddenly appeared one after another bright sword light, and the sword light became more and more powerful. And then, Elder Kong, please continue. Duan Lingtian greeted Kong Lao, and he could see that Kong Lao was closing his hands. It is good. At this time, Elder Kong also saw that Duan Lingtian seemed to have fallen into a state of comprehension. Sword up. Duan Lingtian murmured, and suddenly the countless sword lights around the body of the deity and the avatar of the law gathered together and roared toward the palm print falling from the sky. Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! Wanjian lifted off into the sky, like a meteor turning around, leaving a beautiful scene in the air, and then collided with the palm print that fell from the sky. In an instant. Boom! Boom! The aftermath of the terrifying power spread out, but Duan Lingtian, on the other hand, was standing there, unscathed, with sword chi filling the sky, turbulent purple robes on his body, an indomitable figure like a sword. Sharp! Kong Lao's palm print was also annihilated when Wanjian was lifted into the sky. In an instant, the fight between the two was evenly matched and ended in a draw. Duan Lingtian, you actually touched the threshold of the 7th rank of Kendo. At the same time, a figure appeared. It was the master of the Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace, Xiao Tianci. At this time, Xiao Tianci was no longer as serious as before, and when he looked at Duan Lingtian again, he obviously lost his temper. The strength you just showed has already entered the ranks of the invincible upper gods. The upper gods, the law is small and perfect, and if you touch the threshold of the 7th stage of the 4 paths of heaven and earth, you can also become an invincible upper god. That is, the current Duan Lingtian already has the strength comparable to the invincible superior god Venerable. Invincible upper god Venerable? Duan Lingshan's eyes also lit up in an instant. Just now, he just felt that his perception of Kendo has taken another step forward, and his strength seems to have improved a little, but there is no concept of how much. Now, when he heard Xiao Tiancis words, he was very excited. Invincible upper gods. This also means that when he enters Bibo Tianfu, he will have the opportunity to meet with the saints and powerhouses of Bibo Xianfu, and may even be important to the saints and powerhouses. In this case, it is absolutely possible to ask the strong sage to take action to dispel the imprisonment of his wife Kir. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.